today. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. My name is Emily Stevens. I'm president. I call the regular board meeting and the joint meeting with the Audit Advisory Committee on March 12th, 2026 to order. The time is 5:04. I would like to remind everyone to please silence your electric devices. We're going to go ahead and start with 1.01, our flag salute. Trustee Johnson, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The presentation of colors was led today by Cimarron Memorial High School, JROTC. Before I open item 1.02, is there anyone who did not get a chance to fill out a public comment card? It is a yellow card. Okay. Let's go ahead and open 1.02, adoption of the agenda. Trustee Biasotti, would you like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam President, members of the board, I would like to make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Do I have a second? Trustee Bustamante Adams?
I second that motion.
Awesome. Let's vote. Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you. Now we're going to open 2.01, student reports. This is our favorite part of every board meeting. I thought you were signed up for consent. I have you signed up for consent. So are you referring to the public comment on items not listed on action items?
1.02 is what I called and signed up for, as well as public comment. So there's two. 1.02 is what I'd like to speak on.
I don't have that in front of me. Caitlin, do you have that? We've already. Give me 1 minute. Ms. Beer? Come on up. This is for, you said 1.02,
yes.
adoption of the agenda.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yep. Thank
State your
you.
name for the record.
So, Nicole Beer for the record. This meeting should not take place tonight for the following reasons. I come before you today requesting that legal counsel weigh in on my assertion that open meeting laws are being violated under NRS 241. Specifically, consult the Open Meeting Laws Handbook, pages 8 through 27. You will find that the board, and specifically President Stevens and Vice President Bustamante Adams, have been in violation of open meeting laws in Nevada when they have censored speakers to address the board as a team. In fact, you need not even read the entire handbook to understand the following from Statute 241, Nevada Open Meeting Laws, and I quote, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public, providing access and transparency for government, administrative, and advisory bodies. We do that. Meetings must have proper notice, 3 days, clear agendas, and allowed public comments. Violations can invalidate actions taken. I have filed a complaint with the Attorney General's office and would be happy to file more complaints, adding the attorneys' names if they enable the board to continue to violate NRS. Every meeting in which public comment was censored could invalidate any actions taken during that meeting. This could invalidate employee contracts, policies, regulations, and budget approvals. With so much at risk, I ask the board to consider another election for board officers, encourage trustees to think about what's best for the district, and not to elect members to elect members who know how to lead within the laws of our great state and nation, and who will do no more harm to CCSD and staff. However, before what I hope is a change in leadership, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that the current president, Emily Stevens, is the first open lesbian trustee that we have had. According to public records, her and her wife have been married since 2015. This is groundbreaking for the queer community. It's hard to understand how someone who's part of any historical disenfranchised group would work.
She's using, yeah. Yeah. We did. We stopped. So I want to remind the public that this is a business meeting, and we will not have the public address our board as individuals, but rather as a team, as the board that we are. And if that were to continue, I will have you escorted out. Thank you. Let's go ahead and move to 2.01, student reports. Thank you.
Madam President, members of the board, Kirsten's here for the record. Tonight we are thrilled to have 3 students with us to give our favorite part of the meeting, the student board reports. Usually we have 2, but we had a reschedule and we're thrilled to have all 3 of our students here with us tonight. We have one from Centennial High School, representing Trustee Clerk Dominguez in District B, and Trustee Satori in Clark County. One from Spring Valley High School, representing Trustee Vice President Bustamante Adams from District F, and Trustee Satori from Clark County. And one from West Career and Technical Academy, representing Trustee Biasotti from District E and Trustee Satori from Clark County. So tonight we are going to start with Samantha.
Good evening, esteemed boards of the Good evening, esteemed members of the school board and Superintendent Ebert. My name is Samantha Esporias. I'm a 12th grade student and representing Centennial High School. One of the things that stands out most at Centennial High School is our strong sense of school spirit. Throughout the year, our student council hosts many spirit weeks that bring energy and excitement to our campus throughout the year. During these spirit weeks, we also host game nights for our students like karaoke, lip sync battles, and even game nights like dodgeball. These events are important to bring our students together outside of the classroom and help create a strong sense of community across our campus. At Centennial High School, we are all proud to be Bulldogs. Another important part of Centennial is the impact of our clubs and student organizations. Our school offers many different clubs that allow students to connect with others who share similar interests and develop leadership skills. We have various clubs and organizations to fit any student's interests. Clubs like FCCLA, Teaching and Training Club, Key Club, and our newest Medical Honor Society Club. and to highlight organizations such as our Student Council, the Black Student Union, and NJRTC play an important role on campus in organizing events such as our school assemblies, our school dances, and any really events that we have on campus. Our clubs and organizations create opportunities to promote students to get involved and make every student at Centennial feel like they can be a part of something bigger. Centennial students also make a strong impact through our community service. Students participate in activities such as food drives, toy drives, sock and underwear donations, park cleanups, and also helping out at our local community elementary schools. Altogether, Centennial students have contributed nearly 10,000 hours of community service throughout this year, demonstrating a strong sense of commitment to giving back to our community. Athletics and extracurricular programs are another area where Centennial truly shines. Our student athletes demonstrate dedication, teamwork, and pride as they represent our school in competition. This year, our girls wrestling team has had incredible success. They are 2-time state champions, and this year alone, we had 4 individual state champions. Additionally, our girls soccer team and boys basketball team were the all-state champions for this school year. Lastly, our NJRTC unit sent out 40 students to compete at the Navy Nationals qualifier in Los Angeles and compete against 8 schools, placing 2nd overall. And last, this February, our unit was also named Best Unit in Area 22, which covers 30 schools in Nevada and Northern California. Overall, Centennial High School continues to grow as a community that values leadership, service, athletics, and student involvement. I'm proud to be a Bulldog and thrive in an environment where students are encouraged to lead, give back, and support one another. Thank you.
And tonight, we are happy to have Samantha's principal, Mr. Whipperman, here to support her, as well as her mother, Risan. Is your mom here?
Yes, yes.
Great. And next up, we have Gianna Petrov from Spring Valley High School.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert. For the record, Gianna Petrov, Spring Valley High School senior and IB diploma candidate. Spring Valley is a distinguished 5-star school and an avid demonstration school. Here, we don't just attend classes. We engage in a rigorous culture of IB, AP, dual credit, and CTE courses. These programs cultivate essential real-world skills, including effective communication, critical thinking, and principled decision-making. Opportunities for all is more than a phrase at Spring Valley High School. It is a commitment to making sure every student has access to challenging and meaningful learning. Over the past 4 years, our school has made significant progress in expanding rigorous academic opportunities, so many that more students can push themselves more and reach their full potential. One major area of growth has been dual enrollment. Since 2021, our dual enrollment opportunities have increased more than 350%. Today, we offer 11 different dual enrollment courses, and 630 students are enrolled at college credit. And 630 students are earning college credit through our strong partnership with Nevada State University. Students at Spring Valley also have access to 15 advanced placement courses, with 900 students currently enrolled in AP classes. In addition, our International Baccalaureate program offers 42 IB courses, with 525 students participating in IB classes. Career and technical education is also thriving at our school. Currently, over 1,300 students are enrolled in a CTE course across one of the 10 career pathways that Spring Valley offers. Together, these opportunities ensure that students at Spring Valley can explore their interests, challenge themselves academically, and prepare for success after high school. Spring Valley empowers us through student voice and choice. A prime example of this is in the IB Middle Years program through Project Y. I personally had the experience to engage in a 6-month personal project during which I conducted a self-directed exploration of psychology. Through this process, I didn't just learn about human behavior. I gained essential real-world skills in research, time management, and critical reflection. This project served as my gateway, providing a deeper understanding of the rigor in the International Baccalaureate program and what it demands in the 11th and 12th grade years. It helped me make decisions in what I wanted to do in life after high school. At Spring Valley, success is built on relationships. Our teachers care for us. They encourage us and give us opportunities every day. We have many examples of how Spring Valley's high school community supports students, so many that I could be here all night listing them. One example is our Navy JROTC program, which, with the support of other student-led clubs, help organize and facilitate monthly food drives with the Just One project. These efforts help ensure that individuals in our school and community who are experiencing food insecurity receive support. demonstrating that our impact extends far beyond the campus perimeter. As the Student Council President, I am proud that our council is consistently recognized as a National Gold Council of Excellence. We have earned the Silver and Southern Star Awards for our leadership in school and community impact. Beyond our campus, our members present at national conferences, manage budgets, and execute major events, all while completing 40 hours of service annually. Beyond the classroom, Spring Valley continues to lead. Our Sun Youth Forum representatives are active voices on countywide issues, and our Model United Nations team recently brought home prestigious awards for research and Best Delegate. Our wrestling team hit its 500th dual win match this season, sending 12 athletes to state. Our girls cross country and boys bowling team are academic state champions. And boys soccer took the 4A Mountain League title. The Raiders even named 2 of our staff, coaches Dyer and Humphrey, as coaches of the week, a testament to the culture our faculty provides. I feel incredibly fortunate to have spent my 4 years at Spring Valley High School. My experience is not unique. My peers and I have all had opportunities to learn and grow in an environment that values strong relationships, rigorous academics, and a wide range of clubs, activities, and sports. At Spring Valley, there truly is a place for everyone. When I graduate on May 22nd, I know it will be difficult to say goodbye. At the same time, I am confident that Spring Valley has prepared me well for the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. Spring Valley prepares us for whatever comes next. We embrace our CAN motto, a mindset that defies the word can't. Through discipline and ambition, we prove that we can build stronger relationships, we can reimagine education, and we can grow together. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, and Superintendent Ebert for your continued support and for celebrating our student success. Gianna Petro for the record.
All doing so well. Joining us tonight. Mic drop. Joining us tonight to support Gianna is her principal, Mrs. Powell. She's over there somewhere, I think. And her mom and grandma, Gina and Loretta. Okay, last but not least, we have Emmanuel Gutierrez from West Career and Technical Academy.
Good evening, esteemed members of the school board and Superintendent Ebert. My name is Emmanuel Gutierrez, and I'm a 12th grade student representing West Career and Technical Academy. West CTA fosters innovative education through a wide variety of career and technical educational programs that give students real-world experience long before graduation. Our school highlights include the Magnet Schools of America Top Magnet School of Excellence, the highest composite score of the ACT and CCSD, and our school of 1,500 students takes more than 2,000 AP exams each year, rivaling schools twice our size. Programs like the biomedical and biotechnology transfer classrooms into specialized labs where students conduct advanced experiments such as gel electrophoresis. And for the last 2 years, we've had students in the biotechnology program get invited to the annual UNR Biotechnology Symposium, where they present their projects alongside 4th and 5th year college students. Environmental science students take their learning even further with our greenhouse program, where they raise endangered fish and for release in the Colorado River. Then they grow vegetables and fruit that are sold at our farmers markets every Wednesday during growing season. Our business program gives students a true head start in entrepreneurship as they go into the community and help out the elderly with their taxes by filing them and getting them ready through a partnership with our volunteer tax income program. Nursing students develop compassion and clinical skills as they visit and care for others in nursing homes. Engineering students work with their innovative ideas to get them patented and ready for the future. Digital media students work with industry-level tools and technology provided by our school to innovate, design, and solve real-world problems. Our cybersecurity students have 55 industry-recognized top national competitions, and our sports medicine students combine classroom instructions with their in-gym equipment to learn about muscle growth and rehabilitation techniques. These are just a few aspects of the many programs at our school and the pathways that our students are given at West. Along with what is learned in the classroom, students are challenged and encouraged to join club organizations. We offer 90 clubs and intramurals at West, and we have national officers and state officers within our programs. Students like Abby Mesner, Nevada's HOSA Southern Region Vice President, Sophia and Kelly Day are Vice President of Media and President of the state at FBLA, and Jack Hurley, the National Treasurer of Future Business Leaders of America. Our students are national and state contenders in competitions like We the People, Mock Trial, and FBLA. And we have multiple silver, bronze, and gold key winners in scholastic art and writing competitions. And furthermore, to unite and foster community along all of our clubs, our school has hosted a multicultural night every year for the past 5 years, inviting all clubs to sell, perform, and enjoy this event. Culture comes in many shapes and sizes, and West Tech works to showcase and foster each one. This strong sense of community and leadership extends beyond the campus into meaningful global impact. An example of a student-led project held at West last month was when our Sociedad Honoraria Hispánica hosted our 5th annual Pulsora project. This project partners with Central American artists who make hand-woven bracelets and send them through schools across America. West held their Pulsera project for 2 weeks in February, and the SHH students worked hard every day to make sales, raising over $1,500 for infrastructure, scholarships, and healthcare in Central American countries. Through this project, students learned to participate through leadership and the importance of giving back to a global community. Beyond our school academics, culture, and leadership, my school also emphasizes fun and joy in student school days. One way we accomplish this is through pop-up spirit days our student council holds. These fall on sanctioned food days where they have to wear a specific color on the national holiday. Last month, we had the National Strawberry Day where students were encouraged to wear red, and at lunch they could receive a strawberry shortcake treat. And it just encourages students to have fun and enjoy and bring them to classes. West Tech is more than just a school. It's a community that prepares students academically, empowers them through leadership, and prepares them to celebrate culture and to take the next step in their future. Thank you for your time, Superintendent Ebert and members of the school board.
You all did a great job. I want to recognize that Emmanuel's principal, Mrs. Dr. Rosar, is here tonight to support him. And that concludes our reports.
This is where we grill you. I'm just kidding. So I'm gonna start the discussions with Lisa Satori, Trustee Satori.
Thank you very much. I promise I won't grill you. So you did a fantastic job. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your energy and for having the confidence to come up and speak in front of everyone. You were so well spoken. We enjoyed it. This is what we're here for. We enjoy hearing the great things that are going on. I love, Samantha, that you started off first things first with school spirit, because that is so key to connecting students with their campus and really getting the programs going. And so I loved hearing that. And I loved, Gianna, hearing that you're an IB diploma candidate. Having been an administrator in IB school, I know how rigorous that is, and I know how hard you're working, and kudos to you for that. And I loved with West, Emmanuel, about, wow, that multicultural connection. We talk so much about how we can get those multicultural nights incorporated in schools and really making it meaningful. So hearing of what the work that you're doing with Central American communities was so powerful. I'd love to see more of that and hear more about it. I want to give each of you a shout out, though. Seeing your plans for the future and your aspirations are so impressive. I mean, Samantha plans to attend the University of Maine to pursue a degree in nursing and wants to be a nurse in the United States Navy. So that is just so, I'm proud of you for wanting to serve our country. There. And Gianna, attending UNR, and wants to work as an analyst for the FBI. And so that's incredible work. And then Emmanuel, saying that you want to pursue a degree in Latin American and Hemispheric Studies, focus on Latin American relationships and United States law. Great work. I know we all look forward. We're proud you're CCSD graduates, and we can't wait to see the great work that you do. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Trustee Bustamante Adams.
Thank you, Madam President. I equally share the sentiments of my colleague. I'm going to specifically direct it, though, to Ms. Gianna. You mentioned dual enrollment at Spring Valley. If you had any recommendations that you wanted to give the superintendent to pass it on to us, what would you say about ways that we could do better when it comes to dual enrollment for the students here?
When it comes to dual enrollment and like growing it, I would just say to really publish the improvements that we see in our students, because like even the data that I've received before, like I knew about it, I was like, wow, this is impactful, this is shocking, and it would make me want to join, even though I'm in the like IB program. But just really spreading that word so that students and the parents in our district are aware, because I feel like a lot of time it's just a lack of knowledge, and that comes from both sides. That comes from someone's involvement, but also having the opportunity to know about it. So I feel like just to continue sharing the impact that these programs really make, because I think they need to be highlighted.
Any specifics on what we can do to share, especially with parents and students, to know that we offer that as an opportunity?
I mean, it could be like websites or links or letters that are sent home, and maybe at the end of every year, like, hey parents, this is what we saw in our categories and in our dual enrollment. We saw growth in these specific areas, and these students really thrived, blah, blah, compared to students not in dual enrollment. And then maybe when those letters or those links go out at the end of the year, parents can really see the difference and gain that perspective and put their students in those classes.
Thank you. And I know we have a lot of people in the queue, so thank you.
Trustee Esparza Stafford.
Okay, ditto from what everybody else said. You guys are amazing. I am so impressed with your community service. Each of you touched upon how you're giving back as leaders in our community, and really that is essential. I kind of want to do a little bit of a flip, and I know Trustee Johnson did this question before, but I'm going to flip it a little bit. Trustee Johnson, see, I took it. If you could tell your freshman self, okay, what were the things that you would tell your freshman self? Because most of you are upperclassmen. So what would you tell your freshman self? And this is kind of a plug for us because we are the destination district. So we want to hear any of our students that are listening or people, this is the shining moment. So what would you say that is really amazing about your experience, if you could tell your younger self that?
Does this have to be like community service related or?
Whatever best advice, not even community service related.
Okay. Personally, for me, growing up, I didn't do any sports, and I was always too scared to do any clubs. I didn't want to really be a part of that. And I ended up joining ROTC my sophomore year. It was such a new experience for me, especially because my dad was in the military. I never wanted to do it, but, joining. So just for, me to, other students, I just strongly recommend for them really to put themselves out there, even, if they're just going to do it for a couple months or do it for one school year, one semester. I still strongly suggest that a lot of students give it a try and that they don't have to be scared to try something new because you're never really going to regret, making new experiences.
I really couldn't agree more with Samantha. Personally, I joined student council my sophomore year, and it wasn't really something I wanted to do. I joined because I thought my friend was going to join. It was going to be great, but that didn't happen. But as a result, I gained so many more opportunities. Sitting here in front of you guys today, if it wasn't for me joining student council, I wouldn't be here. Because I believe when you put yourself in new environments, ones that you don't even think will suit you, they can. So for me, student council, it ended up being something that changed my life. My teacher saw things in me. My principal has seen things in me. It's led me to Neil and Kelsey, and then now to you guys. It just opens so many doors, and that's just by trying something new because, like she said, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but it just gives you the opportunity. So just try new things, and just don't be afraid.
I have to agree with both of my colleagues, but I would also tell my freshman self to not be afraid of rejection. I think trying out and always just giving it your best foot forward helps so much. At West, I've given so many opportunities, but I was always scared, oh, what if I don't get it? What if I can't make it into student council? Or what if I can't get into the college I want? But just pushing yourself to always try, and maybe you'll end up speaking in front of the board of trustees and the superintendent. So I just think I would tell the freshmen to enjoy, but not be scared of rejection, because that's really how we learn. And although I've been successful in my high school career, there's times where I've failed and I haven't been as successful as I want. But with those times, I've learned and been able to grow and be here in front of you guys today.
Trustee Cavazos.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, I want to reiterate what Ms. Sear said. This is absolutely our favorite part of the meeting, and we're so thrilled to have you here, and you guys all the students just blow us away every single time. I want to ask each of you, and I noticed that besides talking about academics, you all talked about different things that made your school unique. So I want to ask each of you about the same question because I know that we have a lot of people in the queue. So I want to ask you, if you were to tell someone that was considering going to one of your schools, what would you describe as being so unique about your school that would make them want to come to West, what make them want to come to Centennial? or West CTA, or to Spring Valley? And whoever wants to start first.
If I was to recommend somebody to come to Spring Valley High School, I would probably highlight and promote the International Baccalaureate Program. And that would be because it's not offered at every school, and even magnet schools, like it's not every magnet school. It's something that's a little more niche almost. And the International Baccalaureate Program has been a completely different magnet program than others I've heard about. It's not so much like career oriented. You don't have to be like in the culinary program, and you don't have to be like in the robotics program. Like it's not as specific, and I really feel like that gives students the opportunity to learn themselves, because I didn't have to, as a 14-year-old, lock myself into my one area of exploration. Like I was able to, through all my 8 courses, really figure out what it is I want to do, which is where then I took IB psychology. And for me, that's what I found. But I wouldn't have had that chance if it wasn't for the International Baccalaureate Program.
And you did say psychology, right? Excellent choice, excellent choice. I won't say why, but excellent choice. Who wants to go next? Ready to go?
Okay, so for me, I personally would like to say for Centennial that our ROTC program is very unique. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm an ROTC myself, but I did mention that our unit was named best unit out of 30 schools in Nevada and Northern California. Our unit is really unique as of our students. It's a fully student-led program. Our students are planning our events for 300 students in and out of state competitions. Everything is uniquely student-led. So even though we have our ROTC instructors, they're there monitoring us. It's other students teaching us how to be future leaders. So I would say that that's the main thing for Centennial, that our ROTC unit is so uniquely based off student leadership.
Thank you so much. Manuel, I guess you're on the hot spot here.
If I would recommend West to someone else, I would recommend it because of the amount of clubs and just different opportunities that we were provided, because our programs are very specialized and you get to learn so much. I learned so much through the business program, which is what I'm part of, but I've also been able to explore other areas of, that I want to look into through our mock trial program, and I figured out I wanted to go into law, and we were able to go to state and national competitions, but I was also be able to find a community with SHH and just be able to build that community and grow it at West Tech. But there's truly a club for everyone. Our Black Student Union just hosted their basketball tournament that they've held every year for 7 years now, I think. Our JSU is very prominent at school. Stuco allows so many kids to really touch into the creative side. There's just a club that everyone can go into and touch into one of their expertise or learn about what they might or might not like. I had friends who joined mock trial freshman year with me and then dropped in, realized they didn't want to go into law but wanted to study medicine. And so I think West really gives you opportunity to try and fail and learn what you can and can't do and what you really want to pursue in the future.
Thank you so much for your answers. Just the wide diversity of what you presented. It's just so encouraging. Our future is in very good hands here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Trustee Zamora.
Thank you, Madam President. You all did amazing. I think, Emmanuel, when you were talking, I was just amazed of how far our schools have gone, our high school programs have gone. I did graduate from the district. I will not share when, but we didn't have things like this. So I wanted to put that so we can think about how much we have grown as a district, right? And you all are getting the benefits of this. But the endangered fish stuff, that's amazing. Oh my goodness. I would definitely want to go visit. I'll look at my colleague so we can plan something. But you all are doing amazing. The way you all are speaking too, your public speaking skills just have me in awe as well. The question I have for you all, especially Gianna, you are doing the IB program and everything. You all have clubs, you are participating. Can you talk a little bit of how you're doing your time management for all this? I have middle schoolers, and they say they barely have time to do homework. So can you talk a little bit, because they're listening, I am selfish, maybe you can inspire them, but how do you do that time management of doing your clubs, your homework, and doing the programs you're doing?
Well, for me, I take honors classes. I've taken AP and dual enrollment classes while also being on my ROTC unit's drill team. So every day, Monday through Saturday, I'm doing 3-hour practice, 4-hour practice until, like 5:30 and, coming in on Saturdays, but also being able to maintain my grades and all my courses. For me, I'm a senior now, so more specifically, I have more free time since I have a half schedule. So even though I'm taking UNR classes and I'm, preparing my stuff for my scholarship, it's easier for me as a senior because I have those open periods. periods, I'm able to do all my work before I go to practice and stuff. But when I was a junior, I kind of jam-packed my schedule. I was trying to take as many UNR courses as possible to get my GPA up. And it was really just about, I guess I can still have fun, but setting specific schedules for myself throughout the day. You know, I get home from practice, I get home at 5, and I have to immediately start doing my homework and lock in on everything. And then for the rest of the night, it's free time. So really just prioritizing my work throughout the day. And, you know, for that remaining time, once I'm done, it's like an accomplishment for me, and I get to, you know, move on to my fun stuff and relax. So for me, it's just, you know, setting a strict schedule for myself to do my work.
Personally, I would say that what gets me through my long days and busy schedules, because I have a full block schedule, I also have a job, and I also do Big Brother Big Sister and student body president, where we have many work days. So my days can be very long. But with that said, I just find myself to be very goal oriented, and I just constantly have to remind myself that it's all for me. Like, ultimately, the grade is important, but the education that I'm trying to really understand is for myself, it's for my future, and it's just to make myself a better person. So just having to put in the hard work, it's not for anyone else. So I can put the hard work in for myself. But yeah.
Like my colleagues, I maintain a full schedule and I work 30 hours at Cafe Rio, but I also am in multiple clubs where I'm an officer. And so I maintain just, I think a positive attitude is the best way to get through my day. So sometimes I go from school, to go after school and then go straight to work. And it's a very packed schedule. But what I like to do is color code my schedule. So every class and club gets a specific color. And so I Google Calendar it so I can see and be able to visualize it. For me, I write my goals down, because if I can't see it, I can't achieve it. So I just work on having just a planner, a journal with to-do lists, and the easier it is to access, the easier it is for me to complete it. And I like to check things off, so writing it down helps a lot. And just a different color for each class allows me to feel that sense of achievement when I get something done and be able to get through my days.
Trustee Biasotti.
Congratulations to the three of you. I'm utterly impressed. Emmanuel, I think I've seen you at Cafe Rio. You look very familiar. Vegas is a small town. You three have presented wonderfully. You've shown you're ready to conquer the world. You're also testament to great school leadership and parenting, so good luck out there. Thank you. You're welcome.
Trustee Johnson.
Should I close this out or?
No, Trustee Henry gets a chance to talk
all
too.
right. I concur with with the group. I mean, it's great to see all of the work that's been poured into you, and then you all have taken advantage of it. And Gianna, I love what you said. All of this is for you, and I say it sounds like you all are taking your school experiences and really using them to try to figure out how do you make sure you're the best people you can be. And then shout out to you, Emmanuel, going to DC, one of the best cities on the planet, and GW, one of the best colleges in the city. Quick question. So all of what you all have experienced is because people came before and they had a vision for what schools could be. Can you help us imagine what we should be doing for the next 10 years? Because I would imagine students who are second grade now and will be in 10th grade 10 years from now, they want a great experience just like you. Can you give us one or two things that we should be thinking about trying to do so that school still stays as relevant and as engaging for younger people as it was for you? And and you can dream as big as you want. And we have a CFO out there who's going to pay for all of it, so don't worry how much it costs.
Thank you. I think the biggest thing is just supporting our students financially. Through my high school career, I've been able to go to multiple different competitions. And I know CTSO funding has been cut a lot. So being able to give these students scholarships to be able to go and participate. Just this year, my school was able to fund my trip to UNR for our We the People competition. And it was such an eye-opening opportunity to learn about government in such an interesting way. And we were able to debate about historical topics. And I wouldn't have had this opportunity if it wasn't for the people at my school and just truly believing in us. And I know funding and budgeting is tough, especially at CCSD, but I know that we can be able to move and allocate funds correctly to be able to give these schools the opportunity that they need to just really allow that, so finances aren't the barrier that students are facing, and they just can just focus on pushing themselves and working on their education.
One thing that I think would help a second grade student, when they get to 10th grade, would be to just understand that the adults in the room are really there for them. That's something I've come to realize. Personally, I had a friend who was experiencing homelessness, and it was through the people I know in CCSD where she was able to get help, she was able to get a social worker, and we were able to truly help her. And this is something where I just want the youth to know, they are here for you. The CCSD, they want to listen, they want to help, but a closed mouth can't get fed. So when people want to complain and things like that, it's just what have you done, and how can you be a benefit to yourself and a service to your community? And that's what it's all about. So, yeah.
I think for me, sorry. I would just say hiring teachers that truly love their job and are there to teach, because I feel like, being in elementary school, your elementary school teachers, they're so interactive with you. They're supporting you and, trying to give you just uplifting you, and so you're ready for the next level. And I would just say, when you're coming to high school and you have 8 teachers, 6 teachers, whatever, you really want to have teachers that are going to continue to uplift you and encourage you. I feel like also teachers being more interactive with their students. For me personally, I don't like to just be copying notes on a screen and just reading that for an entire hour and a half. I like students that are talking to me, they're engaging with the topic and asking students questions. So I would just say getting teachers that are really making sure that they're being active and supporting, and that they're there to teach and they're there to make the students be better.
Trustee Henry, I know you've joined us via phone, and I was wondering if you had any questions or anything you'd like to say to these amazing students.
Just that they are amazing. You all had so many great questions for them, and I've really enjoyed their answers. So thank you all so much, and looking forward to what you'll do in your futures.
So I'll close it out with just saying how impressive it's been to be on the receiving end of listening to you guys, and to be able to look into the crowd while you speak, because I'm watching your principals, I'm watching your parents, and they are just thrilled, proud, and some of you guys are dropping little nuggets of wisdom as you're talking, and I'm seeing mouths drop open, these kids are amazing. So thank you so much for being here today, and you guys are awesome. So with that, we will close out 2.01, and we will open item 3.01, presentations and reports, Excellence in Education Hall of Fame.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, my name is Kirsten Sear, Chief Community Engagement Officer, and I'm joined now with Dr. Brad Keating, who is our Associate Superintendent of Community and Government Engagement. And we have another honor here tonight, which is to present the 2026 Excellence in Education Hall of Fame inductees. I think the superintendent wants to say a few words about bringing back this tradition, which first started in 1987.
I know, 1987. Is that when you graduated, Trustee Zamora? She wasn't sharing. No, Trustee Barone. Yeah, there you go. No, you think about the history. I mean, that's one thing within the Clark County School District. Deep, wonderful history. In fact, I had someone send me a text message of, this boardroom is basically the same as it was, except for the dais, 40 years ago. And so when you think about history and celebration and lifting people up, when I returned home last year, I said, where's the Hall of Fame? Where did it go? And people said, oh, it was put on pause. And I said, well, let's unpause that because we have so many community members that have helped us through difficult times and continue to lift us up. We have so many educators that do amazing work every day. It's wonderful to lift up Barbara this evening, who I've known for decades. We have just an amazing community that needed to be recognized. And so I'm glad that the team, when we brought this up, Kirsten and Brad are saying, no brainer, let's bring it. So thank you all for being here tonight and reinstituting the Excellence in Education Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Superintendent Ebert. And as we're talking about legacy, I also just wanted to recognize that Joyce Haldeman is in the audience, who operated this program for quite some time and was a personal mentor of mine. So to date, 276 individuals and programs have been inducted into our Hall of Fame. After a multi-year hiatus, we are proud to have reinstated this important tradition. The 2026 cohort was selected through a rigorous blind review process. Nominations were open to CCSD employees, schools, departments, programs, community agencies, and community members. Each nominee was evaluated on measurable student impact, innovation, collaborative leadership, sustained excellence, and contributions that extend beyond the scope of their formal role. These inductees exemplify what it means to serve above and beyond expectations for the benefit of students.
Thank you, Ms. Sear. Good evening. Brad Keating for the record. Before speaking about the nominees this evening, I do want to take a moment to recognize and thank the 2026 Selection Committee for their thoughtful and thorough review of our nominations. Their commitment to fairness, integrity, and excellence ensured that this process honored the spirit of the Hall of Fame. We're grateful for their leadership and their service. Those members include CCSD's own Elena Kreiner-Wilson, Roseanne Richards, Dr. Sam Scavella, and Lindsay Tomlinson, as well as Dr. Tammy Malich from the City of Las Vegas. Now we're going to get to the fun part of our day, and we will go through what we will do this evening is Kirsten and I will take some time and talk about each one of these individuals, and then at the end of it, we will ask them all to come up and be able to speak with all of you. So I have the honor of the first inductee, who is Barbara Chambers. For more than 40 years, Barbara Chambers transformed opportunities for students with disabilities in the Clark County School District. As the district's first adapted physical education teacher, and later as a department administrator, she helped build the foundation for programs that expanded access, inclusion, and opportunity across all of our schools. She founded groundbreaking initiatives such as the Paralympic Sports Club Las Vegas, the CCSD Summer Day Camp, and the Unified Schools Partnership with Special Olympics Nevada. Through these efforts, students who once had limited opportunities in athletics were able to compete, belong, and thrive. Her work not only opened doors locally, but helped develop athletes who went on to compete and be recognized nationally and internationally. Just as importantly, she helped educators across the district reimagine what inclusive physical education could look like. Barbara's legacy is one of innovation, equity, and unwavering advocacy for every single student. Today, thousands of students in our district benefit from the inclusive programs and culture she helped create. Because of Barbara Chambers, generations of students learned that ability, not disability, defines what is possible. Please thank Barbara Chambers.
Our next inductee is Nathan Inkenbrandt. Nathan is a distinguished educator whose work bridges student success, educator development, and community empowerment. As a marketing, career, and technical education teacher, he has guided students with intentional mentorship while expanding opportunities through partnerships with organizations like Project 150. Through this work, students have gained not only career skills, but also the support systems that help them persist and succeed. Beyond his classroom, Nathan has created professional learning opportunities that have served thousands of educators and founded the district's largest educator support network, strengthening collaboration, mentorship, and shared learning across the profession. His advocacy for strengthening the educator pipeline and improving teacher recruitment and retention reflects leadership that reaches far beyond his assigned role. Recognized as a 2025 National Aeronautics and Space Administration champion and a 2026 Nevada State Teacher of the Year nominee, Nathan's work represents innovation, collaboration, and dedication. Because of Nathan, students discover their potential, educators discover their community, and our schools become stronger places to learn and lead. Help me recognize Nathan Inkenbrandt.
Trustees, we are also proud to induct the Las Vegas Academy of the Arts. Founded as the first magnet school in the Clark County School District, Las Vegas Academy, known to many simply as LVA, was built on a bold vision that students could pursue artistic excellence while achieving at the highest academic levels. Over the past 3 decades, that vision has become a reality. Today, LVA stands as one of the nation's premier public performing and visual arts high schools, blending rigorous academics with conservatory-level training in disciplines ranging from music and theater to dance, visual arts, and design. Students at LVA are challenged to think creatively, work collaboratively, and pursue mastery skills that serve them far beyond the classroom. The results speak for themselves: top academic ratings, near perfect graduation rates, millions of dollars in scholarships awarded to the graduates every single year. Alumni of LVA have gone on to perform on Broadway, work in Hollywood, create groundbreaking art, and study at some of the most prestigious universities and conservatories in the country. National recognition has followed. LVA has been named a 12-time Grammy Signature School and earned designation as a National Blue Ribbon School, reflecting sustained excellence in both arts education and academic achievement. But beyond the accolades, LVA represents something even greater: a culture where creativity is celebrated, discipline is expected, and young people are empowered to find their voice and share it with the world. For more than 30 years, Las Vegas Academy has proved that when talent is nurtured and opportunity is given, students don't just perform, they inspire. Please help us recognize the Las Vegas Academy of the Arts.
Our next inductee is Sandy Searles Miller, a distinguished alumni of Rancho High School, an educator, advocate, and former First Lady of Nevada. Sandy Searles Miller has dedicated her life to advancing education, public health, and family support across our state. A longtime teacher and champion for children, she has consistently used her platform to elevate the needs of students and families, ensuring that opportunity begins early and reaches every community. During her time as First Lady, alongside Governor Bob Miller, who's also with us tonight, she launched several innovative initiatives designed to strengthen families and improve outcomes for children. Among them were Moose on the Loose, the expansion of family resource centers, and Baby Your Baby, programs that connected families with critical services, improved maternal and child health, and helped ensure that young children had the support they needed to thrive. Her leadership also extended to educational policy and national service. She helped guide the development of Nevada Goals 2000, supporting efforts to raise academic standards and strengthen accountability for student achievement. Nationally, she served on the White House Commission on Presidential Scholars, helping recognize and celebrate some of the nation's most accomplished students. Throughout every role she has held, teacher, First Lady, advocate, and community leader, Sandy Searles Miller has developed a deep belief that strong families and strong schools are the foundation of a thriving society. Her legacy continues today as the namesake of Sandy Searles Miller Elementary School, where students and educators are reminded every day of her commitment to service, compassion, and opportunity. Because of her, countless Nevada families found support, countless children found opportunity, and our state found a powerful champion for its youngest learners. Help me recognize Sandy Searles Miller.
Trustees, our final inductee is Joyce Woodhouse. Joyce Woodhouse has devoted her life to serving students, educators, and communities at every level of public education. Over the course of her career, she has served as a classroom teacher, school principal, director of the Partnership Office for the Clark County School District, a member of the Nevada Senate, and later as Chief of Staff to Senate Majority Leader Nicole Cannizzaro, who's with us today. She's also served as an incredible mentor to me personally. In each role, she brought a steadfast commitment to improving opportunities for students and strengthening the systems that support them. Within CCSD, Joyce played a pivotal role in establishing the district's Partnership Office, an innovative effort designed to connect schools with community organizations, businesses, and civic leaders. Through this work, she helped build lasting collaborations that expanded resources, mentorship, and real-world opportunities for students throughout Southern Nevada. Her influence extended even further when she entered public service at the state level. As a Nevada State Senator, Joyce Woodhouse became a leading voice for education policy and reform. She played an instrumental role in advancing a modernized statewide education funding formula, helping move Nevada toward a system that better recognizes the diverse needs of students and provides more equitable resources for schools across the state. Through her career, Joyce has been known not only for her policy expertise, but also for her ability to bring people together, educators, lawmakers, and community partners, to focus on what matters the most, the success of our students. Joyce Woodhouse's career reflects sustained excellence, collaborative leadership, and a deep belief in the power of public education to transform lives. Because of Joyce Woodhouse, stronger partnerships were built, smarter policies were enacted, and generations of Nevada's students gained greater opportunities to succeed. Please help me in recognizing the great Joyce Woodhouse.
Trustees, the Excellence in Education Hall of Fame exists to recognize those whose work leaves a lasting mark on the district. The 2026 inductees represent innovation, leadership, measurable student impact, and a commitment to excellence that extends well beyond their expectations, or well beyond expectations. On behalf of the Community Engagement Unit and our Selection Committee, I respectfully present this cohort for your recognition and celebration. And at this time, we would be honored to invite our inductees to please come forward to the dais so that the trustees may congratulate you. I would like to note that Joyce Woodhouse is unable to join us this evening, so we are grateful to have her sister, Bertie Woodhouse, and Senator Marilyn Dondero Loop here to accept the honor on her behalf. We thank them for being here and for helping us celebrate Joyce's extraordinary contributions. And I think on behalf of LVA, we have our principal, Leslie Knope. So if you all could please come to the dais, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to open it up to the trustees to make any comments, remarks, questions. Trustee Barone.
Thank you. I've been in education for 30 years, but when you see the distinguished people who are in front of me, right, we realize that we educators here, anybody who's in here as an educator, we stand on the shoulders of giants. I'm humbled. I feel really honored. I feel like I'm not even worthy to be, quite frankly, compared to anyone on this list. At the same time, I recently attended Rancho High School, our alma mater, and I feel there are people here in the house. On Searles Avenue now, of course, right, from that also family. And I literally grew, I still own a house right down the street from where Madam Searles Miller lived. It's a huge honor, and if there was anyone who deserved having a school named after them, it's you. And with that, I think I'll leave everything else. I just wanted to say, though, I'm really sorry that that Senator Woodhouse could not be here. We received a letter from her, and again, if there was any person who had, if you could weigh, if integrity was something that you could weigh, this is a woman who should weigh more than any other human who would probably ever live on this planet. And if she ever hears my words, it was a pleasure. It has been a pleasure knowing her. And wherever she would lead, I know I would definitely follow. Thank you so very much.
Trustee Biasotti?
Thank you, Madam President. It's an honor to have you here tonight and to be reminded of the amazing people that have come across this district. You really have set the bar high, so thank you so much.
Trustee Zamora?
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you all for all the work you do. I know that you do it just because you care, and that speaks volumes of you all. I encourage everyone who is probably not in the education world, but to look up these people and the work that they have done. I am very privileged to say I definitely took my daughters to go meet Senator Woodhouse, and I told them, this is, you know, she led the path for you all to be where you all are at now. So it's very important to do that education to the younger generation too. But thank you for everything you've done. I'm glad you're getting your flowers now, and I hope you go and celebrate and have a good dinner.
Trustee Cavazos?
Thank you, Madam President. Okay, as a former educator, I know that I have a lot of funny memories from my career, and I know you guys do too. And so I just want to ask you, what is something that stands out from your long career? And, you know, we are honoring you tonight with so many different things. You all come from very different backgrounds. You've done so many different things for our district to enrich the education of our children. So if you wouldn't mind, I know that there's other people in the queue, so I know maybe not a dissertation, but something that just stands out in your mind. And Senator Dondero Loop, if you want to have something that you would like to say about Senator Woodhouse, whoever would like to start.
Thank you very much, Trustee Cavazos. Speaking for Senator Woodhouse, I think two things stand out. I know that developing and carrying through the partnership office and the Jason project and the hotline, the homework hotline, I know we're pinnacles of that. And I also know that the transformation, the new pupil-centered funding formula, after 50 years plus of us having the same one, certainly are gold caps to her career. And she is watching tonight, so we are happy to have her with us.
Whoever would like to go next, is this the pop? I'm going to have to do the teacher pop quiz thing. Sandy jumps in there.
Thank you. I can, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot tell you how touched I am by being honored by this, but also to be in such incredible company, to be a part of this class. And it reminded me, as you were talking to our high school students, what would you tell your freshman self, right? My freshman self at Rancho High School would be very, very, very surprised that Sandy Miller was sitting in this chair. And she would have a very hard time figuring out how I got from Stanley Avenue to this position. So thank you all very much. It's an incredible honor, and thank you, Dr. Ebert, for bringing the Hall of Fame back. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and thank you all of you. Really a special company. Thank you.
Going down the line here.
All right, I feel compelled to speak. Leslie Kebb, principal of Las Vegas Academy of the Arts. I've heard a lot of Rancho here. Proud Vegas Wildcat. Sorry.
I did that on
That's
purpose.
right. And my mother is also an alumni, and she's of Rancho, and she's in here. But she made all the bones for the Vegas games, so I just had to comment on that. That was a loaded question.
Yes, it was.
Right? So I'm a proud product of CCSD. I have 4 children, all products of CCSD. And I'm getting way too emotional. Sorry, I do that.
That's okay.
I don't have a moment. I'm sitting here in this room, and I'm looking through all these people that I have these weird connections with. And I think if I have to say anything, it's how blessed I am every day. These students that talked today weren't even my kids. Well, I mean, they're all our kids.
Yes.
But I have students of my own. I have teachers in this room. I get up every day. Do I have frustrations? Oh, yes, I do. But how blessed are we to get to do what we do? And everyone in this room is so blessed. And I see people who were my role models when I was a student at CCSD and people who show up every day. And I'm so proud of where this district is going. And no matter what problems we have, it's such a blessing to work here. And I'm so proud, not only of LVA, which hands down, fantastic school.
Yes,
But as a product of CCSD, as a mother of CCSD, as an employee of CCSD, I'm proud of CCSD, and as an artist, I am very proud that CCSD sees us, because frequently we can be unseen or feel unseen. So I just, you said standing on the shoulders of giants. Yes. I have been blessed to know the founding principal of LVA. I was trained by the most recent principal of LVA. Wow. I get to go to LVA every day. And so that's my moment, is just that the blessings that we have every single day. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm Nathan.
Hi, Nathan.
Let me get my earplugs out. All right, so listen. I'll tell you that what stands out for me the most is the power of the collective, right? I'm blessed every single day via, social media and so on, seeing thousands of CCSD educators engaging in what's now having been millions of hours of professional development in order to hone their craft and to bring amazing things into their classroom. And I get to see it every day. Seeing the community partners, not just here locally, but nationwide, that come knocking at CCSD, right? When there's a conference that happens, somewhere in the country, we had 2,000 teachers sign in and just dominate the whole thing, right? And so, getting to see these teachers working so hard after a long day at work and then going home and saying, I'm going to find a way to become better and better paid. And better paid. That's truly touched me as a product of CCSD myself. And, I have to say that it's done a lot for, my students. I get to see it in them. And it really makes me feel like we're getting closer every single day to giving every single student in this district their highest probability of happiness and success. And, truly every single day is a blessing here. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And this honor is just so wonderful. But I have to share it. I hope that every time that somebody sees my name in the Hall of Fame, they get to see all those thousands of teachers too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I asked a loaded question.
This one? Hi, yes, I've been in the district for a very long time. I'm recently retired, not that recent. But I think that when I first started, my goal was which was 40, 50 years ago, not like that, 40 years ago, was to offer kids with disabilities access to their peers. I think that was the most important thing, and it was the hardest thing for us to accomplish, because we have to have specialized equipment, we had, specialized training, we had all this other stuff, but we didn't really do that because we were able to do things with a fabulous staff who I have some behind me. Yes. And when they would look at, you want to do what? You want to do day camps because kids with disabilities can't access day camps in Clark County. So we ran day camps every single year with crazy themes. Of course, my favorite was when we brought the horse to Rancho High School. Because it was Cowboy Week. And so we were teaching kids to be, and we had ducks and sheep and, things that our kids with disabilities don't have a lot of access to. So I think that everything that I did is because I had a fabulous staff that just went, oh, okay, let's go do this. This is okay, and I know you're crazy, but we're going to deal with it because this will get over, and we're going to go do something else. Like when we brought the planetarium into the high school so that we can teach the kids about stars. And so we had all these kids in wheelchairs and whatever crawling around in this portable planetarium, which I didn't even know we had. That was so awesome. If you ever get to do that, you got to do it. But it was my staff that just said, okay, let's go ahead and do that. We had competition teams. We were training kids with disabilities to compete with other people with other kids with disabilities in Arizona. We did competition. So we're giving kids access to different things. And I think one of the most important things is when we took our kids from a segregated program of kids with disabilities all by themselves with their teacher, where we brought the kids into PE classes with their typical peers. Because everybody learned then. The kids with disabilities were learning that staff was learning. We taught a lot to the staff. But then also the general, the general kids, they did absolutely, developed some good skills in patience and having friends and just looking to see what's available. So these are things that I know I'm very proud of where I came through, and I'm very proud of my staff for continuing on with that after I finally decided, okay, I'll retire. And so, but I think that's the most important thing that we have to do is what we've been able to do for our kids collectively. So thank you so much for having that.
Thank you. Thank you also very much for answering that question now that I took up everybody's time and everything. But I wanted to add one little thing. I hope, Joyce, you're watching, and I hope you forgive me for saying this, but she was one of my mentors. She encouraged me so much to apply for being appointed and then be reelected. I believe I see one other senator that's trying to hide right now, Senator Dennis, that also. And I remember that after things got a little bit heated a couple of times over the years, I got a phone call from Joyce. And Joyce, forgive me, and she says, Linda, I know I encouraged you to do this, but what did I get you into? So that's one of my favorite memories. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Trustee Bustamante Adams.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for your passion. I appreciate each one of you for putting students first. My question is going to be for Senator Dondero Loop because Joyce Woodhouse had an impact on my life as being part of the legislative body at one time. My question, if you could answer for her, is what advice would she give to first-time teachers? Because there's not as many people entering the profession. But what advice do you think that Senator Woodhouse would give for first-time teachers?
Thank you very much. I don't know if I can speak totally for Joyce, but I think that Senator Woodhouse would say, you will love everything you do with kids, because everything Joyce did from the minute she set foot in Las Vegas in 1966, being a first grade teacher, to transitioning to mentoring teachers, to being a principal, to running the partnership office as a brand new office in our school district. I think everything she did was always for kids, was always to make sure that kids had the most unique experiences, to make sure kids had the best education that they could, and that transformed all the way to the Senate, to the legislature, where she was sponsoring bills and making sure that we had a pupil-centered funding formula that was equal across the board. So I think everything was always about making sure that this state was better for the future.
Thank you.
Trustee Esparza-Stafford.
So it's surreal because as a former educator and administrator, I have a connection with each of you, and I will share a memory. So First Lady, former principal at Valley High School, but graduated from Rancho. We are representing so I'm a Ram, but I'm also a Viking at heart. And the IB program was pivotal, instrumental, and your kids you fed into us. And so I thank you for that and your service in so many ways. I'm going to come back to Joyce at the end. Thank you, Barbara, because I still have family members that are special education teachers. And it is a job like no other. And so I want to say personally that, you're still, that legacy of creating Special Olympics is still affecting our community today, among the other many things that you did for our students and for them to feel inclusive. So thank you. Nathan, my niece and nephew both picked a career tech as their future. And you're the reason, because they had a teacher like you that planted seeds in them. So now that they're serving in that capacity. So I thank you for what you do each and every day. Ms. Nope. So we shared a community for many years, and you fed your children into, and we still are connected in many ways. So I'm grateful to you because nobody understands the life of a principal unless you've lived it. Thank you for that. Joyce is listening. So I don't want to get too emotional, but I also want to acknowledge Senator Dennis and former Senator Joyce, who came to visit and really fought for a community that needed the finances and the resources at the time with Victory and Zoom. I thank you, sir. I thank you, Joyce. I still, Joyce, have a picture of a black and white of you and I walking down the hallway. And what I love about this moment, and I do have a question, but what I love about this moment is that we are giving individuals their flowers now. So thank you, Superintendent Ebert, for bringing this back. And so, State Senator, we know you as MDL. You're less celebrity. This question could be any of you, but I want to start with you. Leadership is hard. You have all served. What advice do you have for us in the times that we are leading?
Well, I think I can speak very clearly for Joyce and myself, working closely at the legislature together. And I would say that always be true to yourself and be true to the community that you are serving. I know for both Joyce and I, when we go home at night, it is very important that we can look in a mirror and know that what we have done is right, no matter the criticism or the accolades that you may or may not receive. It's about doing what's right. And Senator Woodhouse is the most amazing behind-the-scenes policymaker I've ever met in my life. And she has this school district in her heart, as well as the rest of the state and all the school districts, but this one specifically.
Superintendent Ebert.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I have so much gratitude for what, I mean, you add all of you up, it's centuries worth of literally centuries worth. Yeah. I know, First Lady there. But what you have given and the buildings and hallways and all of the things that go along with it. But you also have family members that have walked this journey with you and have endured the long nights sometimes, right? And tonight, I know, Barbara, I learned earlier, your daughter traveled from Washington, D.C. to help be here and lift you up. And actually, she told me that you're ready to come back to work also. But thank you to the family members. And home means Nevada. Home means Nevada. Even the jockeying back and forth, Rancho Valley, LVA. But to have 3 senators in this room right now in the Clark County School District, the one that is truly hidden is to my right. We have Senator Nicole Canizero is also in the room with us this evening. So thank you, Senator, for joining and lifting up the Clark County School District, these amazing Chaparral, there we go, Chaparral graduate. And so, 3 senators, 1 governor, all of you in this room and our students in the room, teachers, thank you. It's been a long day, but it is so important to take this time, right, to reinstitute the Hall of Fame, to lift up what is right in our community and how hard everyone works. So, we are CCSD. We are the destination district, and we'll continue lifting up Chaparral, Rancho Valley, LVA, and all of our Las Vegas High School. Thank you.
Isn't there a new alumni group?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. So CCSD, yes, you need to join the CCSD alumni so that we can continue to build that capacity across our entire community, because we know we are Southern Nevada, and making sure that we capture our history and lifting it up moving forward. So thank you all for being here. Everyone, thank you for being here this evening.
It sounds like we're wrapping up, and I would just like to leave you all with a sentiment from Senator Richard Bryan, who suggested that every successful banquet begin and end on the same day. And I'm hoping tonight for you that this school board will begin and end on the same day. So thank you all. Thank you.
I'm going to wrap it up. I got a message from Trustee Henry. She's good. So I'll wrap it up with this. This room has seen a lot. And sometimes it's tense. But you guys brought so much joy into this room tonight. So much joy. And I'm new to this, so hearing all of your amazing stories has just been phenomenal. Thank you, Superintendent, for bringing the Hall of Fame back. This is a wonderful thing. And I'm so happy we got to celebrate you guys tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to close up this item, and we're going to take a 5-minute break and give you guys an opportunity to leave so you don't have to stay, but also go take pictures with all your loved ones. And thank you all for coming to support them. It was amazing. Thank you. Trustees, we'll do 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Thank you, everyone. This time, before we open our item 4, has anybody had a chance to fill out a public speaker card? Anybody need a public speaker card? Okay. Yes, we do. Okay, so we're going to open item 4, consent agenda information. And before we do, we have one person signed up for public comments. Ms. Beer. That's where the confusion was, okay. Okay, no other public comments, all right. Do I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda? Trustee Bustamante Adams.
Thank you, Madam President. I motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, do I have a second? Trustee Biasotti.
I will second the motion.
Okay, can I get a vote? Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. All right, before I open 5.01, I would first like to welcome our, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I literally circled it. Sorry. Trustee Dominguez, please read the warrants.
Thank you, Madam President. Ratified warrants as listed in bills payable, transmittal, and board memorandum number 14, 25, and 26 in the total amount of $701,755.42. Thank you.
Okay. Before we open 5.01, I just want to welcome our wonderful Audit Advisory Committee. They're going to be joining us for this next portion, so we'd like to welcome them to the dais as we open 5.01. Mr. Thornberry, I'm going to turn it over to you for the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you, President Stevens, and thank you to the Board of Trustees. The Audit Advisory Committee here today, my name is Joe Thornberry. I will serve as chairman for today's meeting. The committee will introduce themselves for the public and for the record.
Member Elizabeth Hammer, for the record.
Member Anna Marie Binder.
We'll now move into the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for today?
So moved.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes the Audit Advisory Committee.
Okay, trustees, now it's our turn. Do I have a motion from a trustee to adopt the joint Audit Advisory Committee meeting agenda? Trustee Biasotti.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make a motion to adopt agenda item 5.01, adoption of the agenda's joint meeting with the Audit Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Trustee Cavazos.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and vote. Trustee Henry.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. All right. Before I open 5.02, does anybody need a public comment card? All right. I will now turn it over to Joe for 5.02.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, we'll invite our CFO and the I. Bailey, our independent external auditor. All you.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert. I'm Justin Dayhoff, Chief Financial Officer, for the record. We have at the table Kurt Schlicker, partner and lead auditor from our independent auditing firm, I. Bailey. We also are joined, as noted, by our volunteer members of our Audit Advisory Committee. Thank you for joining us and for your work. As part of item 5.02, we now present the district's single audit, or our independent auditor's report on compliance for our major federal programs required for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025. So some of you may recall, normally in November of each year, we review our annual comprehensive financial report in conjunction with our federal single audit. This year, because of the federal government shutdown and delays from the Office of Management and Budget, the compliance statement that's required that determines the risk thresholds, the sampling, and the types and numbers of federal programs that are reviewed was not yet released at that time. That was released in late December, after which our independent auditors quickly got to work on our federal single audit. We are here today to bring that finding and that report to you. The entire report is being transmitted and filed as required in NRS 354.624, including our necessary corrective actions per NRS 354.6245. To that end, Mr. Schlicker will now review the summary of reports and key items of interest.
Thank you, Mr. Dayhoff. Kurt Schlicker, partner with Eid Bailey for the record. Thank you to the board for having me here tonight. I'd like to just explain a little bit about what we audited this year to provide a little bit of context. We audit federal programs that the district administers, and we're auditing with respect to federal regulations. So the Office of Management and Budget, and in partnership with U.S. federal agencies, puts out requirements for auditors to look at. We look at those requirements, compare them back to federal regulations. The school district requires approximately 40% of your federal expenditures to be audited at a minimum each year in total program dollars. We don't actually physically look at 40% of all the expenditures that we would be auditing all year. But we look at major programs that meet that minimum threshold. This year, we looked at the child nutrition cluster, special education, magnet schools assistance, 21st century community learning centers, and the English language acquisition state grants. So the combination of those met the 40% threshold, and then that is what we audited. As far as other major programs or other significant programs, I get this question a lot. Why didn't you look at Title I? Why didn't you look at some of these other programs? In accordance with federal regulations, those programs are rotated on a cycle based on the results of prior audits. So if a large program has a clean audit, it gets to cycle off for 2 years and then comes back in on a third year. So Title I is an example of that. This year, we did have one finding with respect to our federal single audit. It is with respect to the Magnet School Assistance Program, and it is over reporting. Again, I've spoken before on the different severities of findings that we report. Of the 3 severity findings, this is the least severe. So still important enough to report it, but not a qualified opinion, not so material that I'd be concerned, but it's still important enough because it was an error. It has to do with reporting, specifically for performance reports. Every semester, the CCSD reports certain performance statistics to the U.S. Department of Ed with respect to the Magnet School program. We take a look at those reports, see that the information, the performance data, was reported accurately. In this particular instance, one of those items was not reported accurately, which was school enrollment for Cram, Bryan, and Terry Middle Schools as of October 1st of 2024. So we reported and included in the finding there what was reported versus what was actual. Again, a significant deficiency, not a material weakness, and not material noncompliance. Our recommendation, of course, always stems around internal controls. So it's to enhance internal controls to provide for review of the performance data before it's submitted back to the U.S. Department of Education for accuracy. As far as corrective action, I think I'll turn it back over to Mr. Dayhoff to discuss any corrective action steps, but I will reiterate that happy to take questions either now or after Mr. Dayhoff talks about corrective action.
Thank you, Mr. Schlicker. As Mr. Schlicker noted, we did have one finding. It is listed as a significant deficiency in internal control. Page 9 of the reference material contains this information for any of you looking now or for anybody listening and following along. I want to address our plans, both small, immediate scale, as well as long-term in addressing the finding. As Mr. Slicker noted, this was an entry in the error of enrollment information. The genesis of this error came because this was a manual process, so this was keyed in manually. For that reason, we have implemented a two-step financial control so that after that is currently entered, it now goes to somebody else who is not entering that information or reviewing it to check to make sure that what was entered matches the original source information so that we no longer recreate that error. That being said, this speaks to our broader work that we continue to move in business and finance and in service of moving CCSD forward. We recognize that manual systems like this, using spreadsheets and Google Sheets to manage billions of dollars, presents enormous challenges for us as a district. We are working ardently and without delay to move forward and adopt technical systems as well that allow us to operate at the size and scale that any private sector entity, for example, of our size and scale would certainly be expected to, and the tools by which those entities are using. So we continue to drive the work forward. We look systematically within our own organization, within the business and finance unit, to make sure that we are organizing appropriately around the work we have, and also addressing this from a systematic perspective with regard to our actual technical systems as well. With that, trustees, item 5.02 is the actual document that the committee and the board take action on regarding the acceptance of work performed on the single audit and the results. This item has been addressed, and again, our processes have been updated. I turn it over, of course, to the board and to our audit advisory committee. We stand ready for questions as you have them.
Thank you, Mr. Dehoff. We'll at this time open it up to the audit advisory committee for discussion. Any questions?
Thank you, Member Binder, for the record. Mr. Dehoff, were we able to evaluate whether there were any other similar reporting control weaknesses surrounding this type of issue throughout the district?
Member Binder, thank you for the question. If I could, and I understand, Member Binder, that you likely understand this well, but for all of us in the room, just in case, when I think about how audits work, right, you think about a giant ocean, and we are on a tiny ship casting a net out into that ocean, and we're catching whatever those fish are, assuming that we're at a random spot, right? That's in general how we do our audits. Now, while that small catch, it's just one piece of that whole ocean. What we do then is we assume, when we see that just because we're only seeing one, or we see one fish in there of concern, we're not assuming that that's the only fish. In fact, Member Binder, I have to assume that this is not the only instance of this going on. I appreciate the question. So, Member Binder, given that, that's why both the immediate solution for the immediate fiscal control, but really looking broadly both from our technical systems, what our accounting systems are, what our budgeting systems are, and how we move those, but also, again, organizationally addressing that.
Thank you for that. Member Binder.
Okay, yes, thank you, Mr. Dehoff. It's very refreshing to hear. So, and this may be before your time, but separately, the Internal Audit Department issued a memorandum in 2023 regarding time and effort certification for the federal grants. And that memorandum and this single audit finding both relate to our broader federal grant programs. And so I have not heard since 2023 if the recommendations from that memorandum have been implemented like in its entirety, because it was quite voluminous.
Member Binder, Justin Dehoff for the record, thank you for the question. I would candidly have to go and pull the 2023 report, and I would want to get a full response back to you. I don't have that with me right now, though. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Dehoff. Any other questions from the board? No questions. At this time, I'll turn it back over to the board, President Stevens, for discussion.
Thank you. I'll open it up to the trustees. Discussion, questions? Trustee Johnson.
Not a question, but a statement. Listening to you describe, one, I appreciate the work that you had to do around the audit. I mean, I've seen audits happen and they're tedious, but Mr. Dayhoff, I really appreciate the thoughtfulness around two parts of you designing the structure. Part number one, which is, like, we're going to put an immediate control in place, and I know you said it a little tongue-in-cheek, but it really is a pretty serious thing to think about the magnitude of our operation, and to have, and I know the human beings who are doing the work, and I've seen Ms. Bartholomew, and I don't know the other young lady next to her, but like, I've seen their work, and it is very good, and they are also human beings. I don't know who made the mistake at Cram, like that one entry. I say all that to say, right, like, this is an enormous, and not just using that word for like hyperbole, this is a very large organization to have humans entering number by number as if, you know, this was time before a computer. It is mind-boggling. And so, yeah, maybe that's one mistake out of, you know, I don't know how many, but it feels like I really, we are moving forward quickly because you're thinking about, like, how do we put controls in place now, which I appreciate, and how do we modernize the work? And so thanks for doing that. I know it feels like it's long overdue. It's because we've been this size for a long time. It doesn't seem like this is the first time somebody had to thought this is a challenging space to be in. So I just opine, but I really appreciate, and I'm just underscoring and double downing on, like, I don't know how much it's going to cost, and actually I don't really care how much it costs, but in the long run, to have financial efficiencies, because we're not having people make those type of entries, which can lead to the mistakes that we could see, it just is really helpful for our long-term health as an organization. So there was no response required. Just thanks for giving me the space to say that.
Thank you. Trustee Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. And thank you so much for our briefing, too. You answered a lot of my questions during the briefing. I just wanted to ask, because, you know, the CCSD does their audit, Eid Bailey does the audit, and then we have the audit committee. What is the future of moving away from manual input and getting away from that human error? And I know that's like facilities, but is there a plan? Are we moving that direction? Are we starting to pull out of that?
Trustee Dominguez, thank you for the question. Justin Dayhoff, CFO, for the record. And yes, to put it plainly, we released an enterprise resource planning request for a proposal in August of this year. We continue to review that, and so I won't say more on that. But to say that that is a Herculean step in and of itself, because our ERP, our enterprise resource planning system, that's your underlying accounting system, your human resource information, essentially your source of truth when it comes to accounting, right? Any source of insight or anything you put on top of that ultimately relies upon it. So we are working on that right now, and in so doing, we're working collaboratively with our teaching and learning team, with our brand new CIO, with our deputy superintendents under Superintendent Ebert's leadership. We are approaching this not only to move the work forward, Trustee, but to do it across silos, across teams, to make sure that we are being broad in the way we address it, complete as best we can. We know that we don't know what we don't know, but when we have, as best we can, the experts in the room to support the project, to identify the technology, and to make sure that we're mapping our principals' needs, the folks who navigate finance but might not have systems to speak finance, those are all things that we as a team are moving on right now.
Thank you for that. And my last question was about the Desert Oasis, the error that was happening, or not error, but fraud that was occurring with their bank. Do we have, again, it's a little more facilities, but have we, because of this incident, put something in place to kind of educate, our administrators, whoever's handling those accounts, to identify fraud quickly?
Trustee Dominguez, thank you for the question. And just for broader reference, the fraud here we're talking about, it's in the full annual comprehensive financial report. This was actually a finding we had in November, so there's nothing new in this issuance. This has to do with about $95,000 of check washing schemes that were identified in the last fiscal year, and they came up in the audit. We were able to recover all but $5,000 of that, but check washing schemes do still occur. We have shifted into prepaids. That's actually an accounting move that you saw us do last year. You saw us repost, actually, that balance in our ACFR. That was one step that we've made to do that, and we continue to look at school banking. We're continuing to explore ways that we can protect school-based accounts from that happening. But there are and continue to be harmful actors out there. We do track that. I get a quarterly report from my team specifically that I monitor as well.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Barone.
Thank you, Madam President. Actually, that's pretty remarkable that, $95,000, I know that's more than I have in my pocket, but compared to the $4 billion that, that this district moves on an annual basis, right? That's like incredible. And you caught it and addressed it. That's fantastic. I guess that's our new system of checks and balances that you have going on here, right? That's probably the best way to have this going here. Challenges moving forward, as you, I guess you're going to expand and put more of an eagle eye, of course, on your finances. Any challenges that you are anticipating?
Trustee, thank you for the question. Trustee, yes, and I'm always afraid that I've not found them all. I'm trying to figure out what are the things we haven't yet identified. In looking at the work ahead, one of the things that we're trying to do as a team right now and thinking about what those barriers can be and then trying to play offense, not defense, is to make sure, for example, how do we identify our current systems and processes that we use right now before we even move into another system so that we, A, know what we're doing, B, know why we're doing it, and then C, can assess whether and to what extent any new technology or system we're implementing is something by which or for which we need to configure and customize versus instead questioning ourselves, questioning our why, establishing processes that work with the tools and systems we have that scale with those tools and systems and allow us to grow. Our payroll and accounting system teams here have already started to put together, forgive me, spreadsheets of our current processes so that we can identify across teams what are we doing? What are the things as we begin this work ahead that we can start to identify now? So, Trustee, change is always the biggest barrier. We have incredible teams here who do amazing work that rely on many moving and interconnected systems. Right? Even to date, our current enterprise resource planning system is actually a mixed system. It's of two large and actually competing vendors. And for that reason, we still actually have regular challenges that we are fixing and addressing proactively. And the team does that to remarkable precision. But the human effort that's actually spent correcting every payroll run before it gets to employees, even today, is something that we could potentially cut out as we move forward. But absent identifying the barriers, working with the teams and saying, what are we doing now? What exactly are those systems? And then which are and aren't working? What don't we know? And who else can we involve? Who else can we ask to make sure that we're doing this work correctly? And then, of course, Trustee, the other piece to that is in addressing and expecting barriers, we are also trying to position ourselves to be nimble and responsive to those things that we don't know so that we can adjust throughout the implementation timeline of whatever we adopt and move forward with.
And how many people do you have in your department again?
Totally across business and finance unit, we have about 180.
That sounds very efficient for a budget of several billion.
Trustee, a comparable private sector agency would typically have a team of several hundred to at least 1,000.
Thank you very much.
Trustee Biasotti.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Dayhoff, I appreciate your honesty and your transparency when you're presenting these results to us. Going back to what you said earlier about an audit being like a net cast into the ocean during these annual audits, and then assessing that catch, what is the size of the net we are casting when we do that?
Trustee Biasotti, thank you for the question. The size of the net would actually be, and Mr. Schlicker, I may pass to you for this, but that goes to that 40% component that we were looking at. But Mr. Schlicker, if I may.
Thank you, Kurt Schlicker, Ide Bailey, for the record. This is where you start to get diversity in CPA firms and practices. There's a concept called auditor's judgment. and every auditor has different judgment. So I'll be honest that it's my judgment of how big of a net to cast, what materiality levels I think is appropriate for the district. We have some we have some guidelines and some principles that we operate in. Federal regulations require an audit of 20 or 40%, depending on some various factors, but I can increase that based on risk assessment on my judgment. That's really not the judgment of Mr. Dayhoff or the school district. It's mine, because it's ultimately my opinion that has to sign the report at the end of the day. And so I'll say in practice, I am relatively conservative and I'm relatively strict compared to colleagues in the profession. Our materiality is usually on the lower end of peer firms, meaning we're not willing to take as much risk as some of our peer firms in that determination. And I am definitely a strict auditor, as members of business and finance would probably agree with me on that. But I'm happy to answer questions on that type of stuff, but it's based on materiality and sampling and a lot of statistical theory that I could nerd out on, but I'll refrain. Thank you.
Thank you for that insight.
Trustee Bustamante Adams.
Thank you, Madam President. I share my gratitude for each of the volunteer members of the Audit Committee. I know that we're missing two, right? So express our gratitude to Mr. Robinson and also Mr. Scher. Did I say it right? Thank you. So no questions. I just want to say, Justin, that for a very long time we have longed to have a great relationship and partnership with the CFO in reviewing our finances. And so I just want to thank you for you and your team for helping us to get to that point. And I'm excited about our financial health and the direction that we're going. And so thank you, Superintendent, for picking a great partner in our CFO. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Esparza-Stafford.
So you answered my questions during briefing, but I have a question because it's a curiosity, and it's actually because we have experts that volunteer their time, but they're in the industry or they've had experiences with auditing. If we're moving to automation, and I'm going to say it, AI, I'd like to know, what is the industry using with artificial intelligence, and are we going to lean into some of that? And I see that you're ready to respond. And I'm curious to hear from any of those that are in other spaces so that we can learn from that as well through the future as we strategize.
Turn it over to Bailey.
Thank you, Kurt Schlicker with Bailey for the record. I'll say that we have an update on AI monthly within the firm. I would say the current AI that is out there in the audit world, if I'm being candid, is a lot of hype and not a lot of substance when we're talking about auditing yet. The data is not ready to be consumed in a meaningful way to where we get any sort of output that can be used, meaning I can feed data into an AI tool, but it doesn't give me anything worthwhile in return. That being said, I would say the Big Four are really leading the charge in AI development and in AI tools, which we would expect them to. They're the Big Four auditing the SEC companies. We continue to monitor it. We continue to implement tools. We have some tools in place already that pull journal entries that are posted manually by staff to look for unusual combinations for keywords or phrases, some other programming type things that we do. But as far as, we're quite a bit away from taking a general ledger, telling the AI to tell us what transactions to go look at, because these are the 10 weird ones. We're many years away from that, but the tools are getting better, and trying to focus that net on, maybe, if I would use that analogy, on that unusual item is getting better.
Thank you, and this is Member Thornberry. I will concur with that. A lot of the AI technology that is out there, in terms of having it proven, reliable time and time again, is still a long journey to be accepted within the industry. Sure, it will come, but it's still a ways away.
Member Hammer, I work for a financial and accounting services firm, former public accounting, and I concur with everything that Mr. Dayhoff said. I think it's a great tool to help organize and maybe make you a little more efficient when you're looking at large swaths of data. It does not replace the procedures that we perform. It just helps us be more efficient in looking at the information.
Thank you. Trustee Henry, do you have any comments or questions?
Thank you, Madam President. I do not.
Thank you. Seeing as there is no public comment for 5.02, I will turn it back over to Mr. Thornberry for a motion.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, we'll entertain a motion from the Audit Advisory Committee to accept the report as presented.
Member Binder, for the record, I'd like to make a motion to accept the independent auditor's reports on internal control, compliance, and other matters based on an audit of financial statements performed in accordance with government auditing standards and on the schedule of expenditures of federal awards as required by the uniform guidance as presented.
Thank you, Member Binder, and do I have a second?
Member Hammer, second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes Audit Advisory Committee.
Thank you so much. I will ask for a motion to accept item 5.02. Trustee Bustamante Adams.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to approve the Audit Committee's report.
Awesome. Can I get a second? Trustee Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I second the motion.
Okay, let's vote. Trustee Henry? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Before we open 5.03, has anybody not had a chance to fill out a public comment card? What's that? I know. You actually have public comment. So I'm going to turn that over to you, Mr. Thornberry. 5.03.
Thank you. We'll open it up for public comment. Reference the audit report and audit committee presentation.
We do have one signed up. Mr. Gomez.
Yes, oh, here will come. This is, which one? Okay. David Gomez, for the record, Nevada Peace Alliance president. I just wanted to speak on the matter of the audit. I just, these guys do a really hard job. And I'm saying this because I know. I know because I own accounting firms. I own a lot of them. I got CPAs, I got enrolled agents, I got all different type of people that work for me. But nevertheless, they can't even give me the answers when I go and talk to them the way that they articulate their answers here when I'm speaking. So when they're working with such a little bit of staff and they're doing what they can for such a big district, you should be a little bit more appreciative, because I wish that I had staff that were like this sometimes, that were more transparent and come tell me, hey, I made a mistake, or we found a mistake and we're going to hold ourselves accountable for this mistake because something is not in place. Most of the time they like to point the fingers and blame the other people in the room. They like to say, oh, this guy did it, or that guy told me to do it, this guy told me to do it, and I get so tired of that. It's really upsetting. But nevertheless, I just wanted to, I met Justin, well, you say not to say names, but I met the CFO. And he's a really nice man. I like him, and we conversate very well together. And I appreciate, his candor with some of the things that he speaks to me on. But I just wanted to say, with such a small thing and all the volunteerism that I do for this state, this school, and everywhere else, I hope that you guys are very appreciative for the people that you really have that work really hard. Because when I come with an answer or a question, trust me, I grill really hard until I get an answer. And most of the time they say, okay, this is what it is, Mr. Gomez, and this is what happened. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the Audit Advisory Committee.
Member Hammer, motion to approve.
Motion. And do I have a second?
Member Binder, I second.
Motion 5.04 is approved unanimously. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. And that concludes Section 5. We're going to go ahead and open Section 6.01. This is not an action item. Teachers Health Trust update.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Andrew Helms. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Teachers Health Trust. With me today is Tom Zumdabel, our Chief Executive Officer. Tom joined Teachers Health Trust in 2021. Also with me today is Peggy Melton, our Board Chair. Peggy is a retired CCSD educator who joined our board in 2022. Today I'll be presenting the audit results for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. I'll also provide a general overview regarding the state of the trust. The first question I want to address is what makes the THT-CCSD relationship unique?
We need to move the slide back.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Tom. At Teachers Health Trust, we look at ourselves as partners with the school district. In other words, we're not just another vendor. Teachers Health Trust was founded in 1983 through collaboration between CCSD and CCA to provide health benefits for our educators. Transparency isn't just one of our core philosophies, it's actually an integral part of the CCSD-CCA negotiated agreement. We provide monthly financial statements and an independent annual audit to the school district, in addition to several other key stakeholder reports. Each year, we also provide a State of the Trust presentation, which includes the audit findings, to the CCSD Board of Trustees. Teachers Health Trust is governed by a 7-member board of trustees consisting of active and retired educators and community experts. One of the unique differences between Teachers Health Trust versus for-profit insurers is our fiduciary responsibility. Our trustees and our executive leadership are all fiduciaries of the health plan. This means that we are all personally obligated to act in the best interest of our members. Additionally, all THT staff and executives utilize the same health benefits as our educators, which ensures benefit decisions are made with direct personal accountability. The June 30th, 2025 fiscal year audit was conducted by Holdsworth, Russo & Company. They issued an unqualified audit opinion, otherwise known as a clean report. This means that there are no material issues or findings. Most notably, the audit report indicates that previous substantial concerns about THT's ability to continue no longer apply. This is a significant financial achievement and reflects our commitment to continuous operational improvement. Additionally, THT is now completely financially solvent, meaning we are debt-free and have enough assets to cover our benefit obligations. We use a handful of key performance indicators to consistently measure our performance. One of the main KPIs, the quick ratio, evaluates how well our liquid assets, such as cash, marketable securities, investments, and near-term receivables, such as pharmacy rebates, can cover financial obligations. It's a realistic but simple indicator of overall financial health. It cuts through the accounting noise. It means right now, without selling anything, can we pay our bills? A quick ratio below 1.0 is a warning zone for liquidity. It means there are significant financial risks. A quick ratio of 1.0 or higher is healthy for most self-funded nonprofit benefit plans. It reflects true cash availability. In the chart on the right, we show THT's quick ratio over the previous 10 years. The red zone represents high risk, meaning we are either over or underfunded. Yellow is cautionary, and the green zone shows an ideal quick ratio range. From 2016 to 2020, The quick ratio was well below zero, meaning THT was in financial jeopardy. Beginning in early 2022, under new executive leadership, the quick ratio started to improve year over year and remains on a positive trajectory. As of the most recent June 30th, 2025 audit report, our quick ratio was around 1.3, and that means for every $1 in current liabilities, we have $1.30 in liquid assets. This vast improvement in the quick ratio demonstrates a much healthier, fiscally sound balance sheet than in years past. Between fiscal year 2024 and fiscal year 2025, medical expenses increased by $8.3 million, or 4.5%. This increase closely aligns with anticipated inflation, as well as the increase in employer contributions from the school district. Even though we consistently and proactively manage our cost, healthcare inflation is significantly higher than regular economic inflation. We performed well. However, with medical claims, you just never know what's waiting around the corner. Our administrative costs, which include TPA fees, legal fees, and office overhead, this decreased by $1.6 million, or 12.5%. If you recall, during last year's presentation, I mentioned we put new measures in place to help control our administrative costs. This reduction in expense demonstrates our culture focused on continuous improvement. In other words, we're always striving to do better. As fiduciaries, we have a personal responsibility to ensure that we are investing in high-quality programs that are guaranteed to improve the health benefits and enrich our members' lives, and this is no easy task. The industry standard for administrative expense is around 15%. So in other words, 15% of revenue is allocated to non-medical expense, such as salaries and TPA fees. For most health plans, 15% is acceptable. At Teachers Health Trust, however, we obsess over quality and accountability. Due to our team's hard work and dedication, we were able to achieve a 4.7% administrative cost ratio in fiscal year 2025. This means that only 4.7% of revenue was used for overhead. This resulted in approximately $25 million that we were able to reinvest back into additional benefits for teachers. Due to these savings, we've been able to substantially improve the benefit design for the Educators Health Plan. For the past 3 years, there's been no increase to active teacher premiums for THT health plans. As of January 1st, 2026, certain family premiums were reduced by $1,000 to $3,000 per year. These new tiers are designed to alleviate financial strain for certain educators based on their number of dependents. Also, as of January 1st, we launched the newly enhanced Advantage Plan, which now provides 100% coverage for health investment providers. All members now have priority access to the newly designed health investment program at no additional cost. Under this unique benefit enhancement, both Signature and Advantage Plan members can see high-quality local providers with $0 copays and expedited appointment availability. Throughout 2025, we identified and added 39 additional high-quality care providers to the Health Investment Network. Also, since the last presentation, we listened to your concerns, and we added several providers to the network who are located in the northeast part of the valley. To date, by utilizing the Health Investment Provider Network, members have saved approximately $556,000 with 29,000 unique appointments made. I'd also like to point out that these aren't the only providers our members can use. Teachers Health Trust members have access to the Sierra Healthcare Options, or SHOW network. This is the largest provider network in the Las Vegas area, with the same providers utilized by Nevada's largest employers, such as MGM, Caesars Entertainment, Clark County, and the state of Nevada. And then we track our in-network provider counts on a monthly basis. So for example, as of January 31st, we had 9,890 medical providers and 2,743 behavioral health providers within the network. Over the past year, we've made significant improvements to our diabetes management program. If members visit one of the 6 Las Vegas endocrinology locations within the Health Investment Network, they can expect to have all copay, coinsurance, and deductible amounts waived. For most insulins, member out-of-pocket costs are no more than $20 per month. Meanwhile, syringes, lancets, and test strips are fully covered at $0. Benefits. Our support team is here to assist you every step of the way. No matter who answers the phone, you'll receive the same professional, consistent support. Just to reiterate, getting members the care they need is our highest priority. Throughout 2025, we continue to establish credibility throughout the community with several member-focused initiatives. We revived the free health fair for all members, bringing preventative services directly to educators and their families. We utilized several media outlets to promote our benefit offerings, including free on-site primary care and mammograms at select schools, and coverage for new blood tests aimed at preventing preterm births. We also had a courageous member share his journey and testimonial with Fox 5 News after successfully losing over 80 pounds through bariatric surgery. And just for reference, we've linked these articles in your PDF, but we're more than happy to send you any of these pieces directly. While we've had great success in recent years, our work is never done. In 2026, we're working hard to make your health benefits even richer. We're evaluating alternatives to improve networks and reduce friction for educators while preserving access to quality health care. This is a community effort, and it requires self-funded plans as fiduciaries to come together and leverage against the for-profit insurers who only wish to make more money for their shareholders. And we won't be satisfied until this market changes. We're also exploring ways to use modern tools to enhance self-service options, which includes finding benefit information or resolving common issues faster. We'll continue to control costs in all areas and identify ways to improve premium affordability without sacrificing access or outcomes. This concludes my presentation of the fiscal year 2025 audit results and the state of the trust. At this time, I can respond to any questions or comments. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll open it up to the trustees for discussion. Trustee Barone.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Well, as a recently retired educator and the user of one of these, and the having Teachers Health Trust being my provider, I'll tell you, although a few years ago it was embarrassing because I actually had a couple of my providers who were asking me, hey, I got these bills here, are they going to pay? And I remember being on the phone for a long time. I can't tell you how enthusiastic I am to about the outlook here, the 180 turnaround. And I really want to thank your team. The reason why this is really important is because here you are as an educator. Again, I recall staying up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, grading papers. And then when I had a chance to look at the bills, right, I saw things come up. The last thing we want for our employees is to have a doubt about being able to provide for their own families, okay? And what this does is this, I think this works really, now granted, nothing's perfect, but this is, again, a huge step in the right direction. I'm really happy to hear this. And I think this brings, quite frankly, a lot of faith back to our employees. And again, I really applaud all the work that you've been doing. Again, you're running lean, you're running mean, and doing things in a very business-like fashion there. I'm really heightened. I'm really inspired. I think I'm gonna have to try harder on everything that I do because I see that everyone else is doing a good job. So I think I'll have to work harder as well. I guess a question that I would have. You've been able to increase access for our members for mental health, right? I guess maybe you can speak a little bit to that because again, oftentimes we like to have access to the quick cares and a family, but when it comes to something as complex as mental health coverage, maybe you could just speak a little bit to that, how you were able to find those providers that are willing to work with us.
Andrew Helms, Chief Financial Officer for the record. First of all, Trustee Barone, thank you very much for your compliments. We have a great team, and they're very hardworking and dedicated. So for behavioral health, we have around 2,700 providers within the network. We have MD Live. They offer telemedicine. Through MD Live, we've had over 29% an increase year over year in engagement and utilization. Our teachers really love MD Live. They love the fact that they can make virtual appointments, at their own convenience. So after hours, they can see a therapist or whatever their needs are. Additionally, we have several providers within the Health Investment Network, and if any of our educators, any of our members see these providers, it's $0 copays for regular services. So we have Las Vegas Valley Mental Health, Healthy Minds, they have 3 locations, Clearwater Counseling, Nevada Mental Health, and Aspire Behavioral Services. They're ABA therapy for adolescents.
Thank you. Trustee Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President, and I really commend your organization for reaching that financial stability. I wanted to ask, because as a parent, and I sitting in the audience, I sat there and I listened to so many teachers discuss their issues with cancer, and they weren't able to find treatment. And I know we had discussed that during a briefing, and I would love for you to mention that. Especially, I appreciate also you mentioning the diabetes and the work you've done with that.
Thank you, Trustee Dominguez. just to Andrew's, I mean, first I'm kind of in awe. I'm so lucky to have a CFO like Andrew. And I sit here, it's like, my life is so different than it was years ago when I was, and he's so professional, but he's also just such a great partner. And the way that he sits here and presents our success to, our hard work to you is how he works every day. And it's just really remarkable to have that and to have you on the team. But we really deeply, deeply believe, and Andrew said these words multiple times, that the way to manage healthcare is to create access. We just deeply believe that. And so one of his slides said that we had saved $552,000 for member copays, right? And so that's members would have to pay that money to get to a doctor. And so that's only to us, it's $552,000 of barrier, right? And so we really, we believe, and so we have these programs we call health investment. And the health investment is we invest in the members' copay so they don't have to come out of pocket, but we also give more money to the providers so that when they're paid above the current rate in the community, because we want the provider to be happy to see them. You know, I mean, we want them to be engaged and be happy to see them. So that's the way the process works. And so specifically to oncology, it's just super difficult on so many levels. And comprehensive cancer is the biggest provider in this community in cancer care, and they're the go-to for so many providers, and they're good providers. But at the same time, we've also put in a group called Total Oncology Institute, that those 6 locations, people can go and get 100% coverage. So if you have cancer care, you don't have to pay a penny. Not for chemotherapy. You would have a hospital copay, but you wouldn't have to pay a penny for your professional component. And so we just keep trying to help people to understand and be educated. And a big part of access is that the doctors understand what benefits are. And so, you know, we do monthly meetings with our doctors, not every doctor in the network, but every month we have the leaders of the groups with the health investment get on the phone with us, and we talk about what we're dealing with, and we talk about what they're dealing with, and we try to figure out how to make it better. But it's the same thing you try to do, just cause communication, and then you stumble on things to make it better. So the cancer care, it just really is, it's purely access, and you asking that question allows us to talk out loud, and teachers hear this meeting, and then teachers know that there's an option out there for them to get cancer care at zero out of pocket. So thank you for the question.
No, thank you, and I appreciate the comment because I heard so many sad stories sitting as an audience member, as a parent. And my second question was, you mentioned access, and I know Clark County is very large, so we have, I saw like there's there's locations, somewhat in the north area. Are you looking to keep developing partners even out all the way out to Moapa and Mesquite?
Definitely. So, you know, the majority of our educators tend to live in Centennial than more in South Henderson. And so we were developing access in Centennials where there was not as many providers, and of course in the Northeast. But we just recently changed the plan in the Moapa area. They were with a Utah network, and we moved them to the UMR network. And it's been a little bumpy. It happened in January, and it hasn't been as bumpy as it's felt to the educators there, because we did contract with Intermountain, and that was their go-to provider in that area. But the Intermountain directory with UMR didn't list every single physician, so they thought they didn't have some physicians. And so we're in an active communication campaign with them. The other thing, that the way we communicated is we said there is no change to you to the educators in that area, Logandale and Moapa. And we said there's no change, because we said for a year we're going to spend time figuring out what doctors you go to so you don't have any change. They heard that at the end of the year there's going to be a change, and that's not the case. And so we're also actively communicating to that, because we had 6, when we did the change, 6 or 8 doctors that were not on the UMR network, that were on the old network. So we were going to spend a year to make sure we get those people contracted, and we will get it done. But it's been a tiny bit bumpy. The 2 next moves in Moapa is we don't have access to Steinberg Diagnostic, which we have here, that they get 100% coverage for for imaging, and lab, they get 100% coverage at Quest, and Quest doesn't have locations out there. So we have to figure out how to expand that coverage. So their coverage is the same as it was before, where they had a no deductible and just co-insurance. No, they had their deductible and then 100% coverage, so we maintain that, but we have to do better with those providers, and we will grow them. It's kind of like the challenge Trustee Barone gave us last year. When we come back here next year, we'll be telling you about the health investment providers that we have in that area, because it's access and it's important to us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your willingness to be flexible on such a sensitive subject and such a sensitive area in everybody's lives and our teachers' lives. And so, and being able to be willing to redirect when things aren't working out. And so I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Esparza Stafford.
Thank you, Mr. I don't want to mispronounce. I do not like when I mispronounce names because mine's always mispronounced. Zumtobal. It's wrong. Correct me.
Zumtobel.
Zumtobel.
Yeah, you're so
okay, there we go. I won't. Okay. I have a lot of questions after our briefing just because I like to do homework. But let me start with my first one. So I was very fortunate to be with Trustee Satori in a virtual community meeting. And it was really evident that teachers want behavioral health. So you mentioned Las Vegas Mental Health, Healthy Minds. You know, this teacher was, I could tell, like needed the information immediately. So how are we getting that information to our teachers? And I know you've done a great job. Look at where we are now. But it's prevalent, and I even attended Trustee Cavazos' community meeting. Was outstanding. She had a teacher rep. She had students presenting on mental health as well. So could you explain to us how is that available and messaged?
So it's available like a lot of your communications, of course. You know, we have a website that we do think is easy and more user-friendly. We focus on that all the time. We do regular email and communication, social media. We even do texting, and we send mail. But that it's not enough. It doesn't work, right? I mean, the reality, people need it when they need it. And so I talk to my team about sending some of these things every single day, because I say, I don't know the day they're going to need it, and they need to see it in the morning. And my team goes, that doesn't work, because they'll quit looking at it, it won't work, right? And so we have those conversations. Your comment in our in the prep call caused the leadership at CCSD to follow up us, and I don't know if they did it in conjunction with you or not, but offered this opportunity to put a QR code on the badge, on the teacher's badge, so they could scan that and then it'll go directly to resources, and the resources will include, as Andrew talked about, MD Live, that they can get on the phone with somebody in 15 minutes if they want to, or they can also do an appointment. And so we're very optimistic about creating that option, and there's a little bit of work to be done, but it feels like it'll at least give the educators the same option that they are able to offer their students, right, as far as immediate access to support when you need support. So.
Thank you. And actually, that idea came from our students, I think a year or so ago. All right, I'm going to ask my second question, then I'll put myself back in the queue. I want to go to slide, no, I want to ask this one first. It's kind of broad, because I just know that some of us have trauma from the past. So how is it sustainable, is the current financial position, and what are the key risks that could threaten solvency potentially in the next 3 to 5 years?
Andrew Helms, Chief Financial Officer for the record. So, we have a number of mechanisms and measures in place that help our trustees to govern our finances, as well as the school district, our stakeholders. We have monthly financial reports that we send to the school district in addition to the annual budget, which I'm presenting tonight. We also have our KPIs. So we have the administrative cost ratio, that's the percentage of revenue that we use to pay for things like salaries and legal fees and TPA fees. We also have our medical loss ratio. That's the percentage of revenue that we use to pay for medical claims. That's the much larger budget. And now we have the quick ratio, which is an overall holistic view of our finances, our financial health, as an organization. That's a balance sheet measurement. Additionally, we have an annual budget that's approved and governed by the trustees sometime around March and April. However, there are threats on the horizon, especially drug cost, as well as the declining number of educators. So that's something that we always want to keep in mind. But that's...
And then they have me. Their chair is saying, okay, this is nice. So what if? What happens if? I have financial background experience. I have been a teacher and using the program. I have a daughter that's a teacher that uses the program. I'm invested in the program. So I'm invested in Teachers Health Trust. And so I'll add, this looks good. We're doing well. We've come up from where we are. What happens if we lose 800 teachers? What happens if we lose? So we do create what-if scenarios, and I talk to them about it, and, we're their governance, so I ask the tough questions. So explain it to me. Make me understand why. And that's the relationship we have that we keep. I want to keep the confidence to be here forever, but I don't know if I'll last forever, but that's one thing.
And I'd like to just add to that or complement that, because those are the right answers. The only other thing that we do also worry a lot about is rising rates of uninsurance in the community, because as there's uninsured, then that cost will be picked up by people that have insurance. So we're worried about that for sure. But Peggy, I'm glad she spoke up, because the other thing that really matters is leadership, just all the time. And so we had our strategy session. When we left the strategy session, Peggy, with the board, said, what are the succession plans for Tom and Andrew? What are the emergency succession plan? And they demanded that we had that done, and we got them done, and then build the other, a longer-term succession plan, because that's why this place got in trouble, honestly. There was funding challenges, but why would the school district fund a plan if you don't have confidence in the leadership? So we have to always keep leadership that you have confidence in, and then we go through things together, because things are going to get tough. We can't, when the uninsured happens, when people start to lose their coverage, we're going to have to figure out some of that together, right? And it's not a you problem, it's an us problem. But the leadership, and I'll stop, but our board has followed the same path. When you see Andrew, Peggy has done just an amazing job with our board, and you saw, Laura Rich from PEB, who has a great background in healthcare delivery, and then Max Carter, who's a legislator and a leader. But the other educators now step up, and when I started, it was a board of 7 educators, and it just wasn't fair, because they would teach all day, and then somebody'd come in and talk to them about healthcare numbers, right? And so it's tremendous progress with the board under Peggy, for sure.
And I'm a retired teacher, so I get to, and a business owner, so I get to come in and bounce ideas, and having used the plan. So when I go into a doctor's office, they may not know I'm on the board, and I'll say, why did you do that? When I go into and then they'll go, oh, that's her. And then, unfortunately, now I'm known. I tried to keep it incognito. And I'll ask them questions, and I'll say, is this what my teachers are going to experience? Right? That's not how this is supposed to work. And then and so we've corrected a lot of things from that. It's wonderful to be on that side and this side, right? To say where I'm hearing what the plan is telling us is supposed to work, and I say it's not working like that, because we're able to fix it, and we're able to do those kind of things too. So it's not just that part; it's the service in that too. So.
Trustee Satori?
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I just appreciate all the hard work you've done and how far you've come. And, having been an educator for a long time, I know the efforts that you put in. And it's so crucial to our teachers. It's hard to focus on the job at hand and our kids when, you have to worry about, you're worrying about your own healthcare needs and those of your family. So, and it's so often a deal breaker for teachers to go to a different profession if they don't feel that those needs can be met. So appreciate the seriousness you've taken with it. And also, I just want to say, too, just the quality of service that has improved. I remember as a young educator just, feeling like it was hard to call and get answers or come by the office and talk to someone, and I just feel that is such a big change from way back then. That you're very accessible and very sincere in the work that you do. My question was really on that quick ratio, and you just kind of touched on it a little bit, but just how it's kind of varied so much, kind of like a pendulum, and it's in a great place now. How do you really see, and you spoke to it some, but being able to, it hasn't stayed real consistent, so how can we really make sure that where we've got it at now, we can try to keep it steady moving forward?
No, that's exactly the right question. Andrew Helms, for the record, Chief Financial Officer. At the end of the day, our 7-member board, we have our meetings monthly at 4:30 p.m. They're tired. We don't want to, like Tom mentioned, we don't want to throw a whole bunch of numbers at them. We want to keep things simple and high level so that they can quickly get a snapshot of the current finances month to month and not be inundated with numbers. And so the quick ratio is a very simplistic, transparent measurement of our overall financial health with the pure purpose of keeping THT out of the financial hardships they experienced in the past. That's the whole point of all of these KPIs, is to avoid that. And that's why I hold the negotiated agreement in high regard too, because it holds us accountable to the school district, our stakeholder, our largest stakeholder, to provide that monthly reporting, to provide an annual audit. And so with the quick ratio, we have the different bands. So we have the red bands. If you're in the lower red band, so below 1.0, it's, red flag. Like, we should never be there again. If it's in that yellow band from 1.0 to 1.25, that's cautionary. That means it depends on which way the trend is going, of course. And then the green band, that's where we want to stay. So that's 1.25 to 2.0. Those are the guardrails. That's the ratio that we want to maintain. And if we start reaching the upper limits of that, that means around 2.0, 2.5, that's the upper yellow band, and beyond that is red. That means that we're overfunded, meaning we're over-reserved. So in other words, we have excess cash, idle reserves, liquid assets that could be better spent either making premiums more affordable or providing better access and quality health care for the educators.
I did want to add one thing to that. It was a great answer, and it was exactly right. Your question is really a great question, and I think it jumped at you because that chart is condensed. And so it makes it look like things can happen quickly. The quick ratio, next month, we're not going to come in and have a quick ratio. It's a longitudinal, and it's the health of the whole organization. So we're not going to have a bad month and the quick ratio goes down. You're asking the right question, but that chart does make it feel, yeah, right, yeah.
Trustee Zamora?
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for the presentation. I just want to say this is an example of listening to your members can get you so far. I will not forget, Tom, you would sit here and be like, this is my email. Everyone write it down if you have questions or concern, and just always emphasize your email. And you had a direct opening of communication, and listening is that's why we're here. Like, we've seen the growth and the successes, and I thank you for the diabetes, where we're at. It is a huge, huge difference. And I think one thing that I always mention is being a diabetic is very difficult. It creates a lot of fatigue when it's not in check. And if our teachers are suffering with this, they're not focused in the classroom. So I'm glad you prioritized this and expanded also to the Northeast. So I just thank you for all your work.
Trustee Samora, sorry to have to comment all the time, but the thing that I have to say about that's so important is where we are so different than any other health plan is if somebody is a diabetic, if they're managing their diabetes, we treat that as health, not sickness. And we're there to keep them healthy. And if they're doing whatever they're doing to stay at the right level, we're all winning, right? And so why would you charge them money to do something that's in the plan's best interest? So it's a nice partnership, but I really appreciate you pointing that out.
Trustee Cavazos.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, Trustee Satori asked a really good question, and that was pretty much what I was going to ask about. So just to further compliment on that the way that you presented that with that chart, and I think I said that at the briefing, you answered my questions, so much easier to understand and be able to see kind of the width and the depth and how that works. The other thing I wanted to say is that it's so refreshing, especially with the behavioral health, that when I need to refer someone because I can't see them, I'm no longer getting constant, answers. Oh, we don't take THT. We don't take THT. Now I'm getting, oh, go ahead, send them over, give their contact information. That is so wonderful. Not just for, behavioral health, but, somebody might have a mental health patient that needs to have a physical. And the number of locations that you have increased is incredible. So just kudos to you and for the way that you presented that. I'm not sure about my fellow trustees, but I can just say right now, I can't remember the last time that I received a message having to do an email. There used to be a lot, like one right after another. And so just compliments to you for that. Thank you so much for the hard work that your team has done.
Tom Zumtbel for the record, and I should restrain myself, but I can't. So three things. But the first thing is I received 5 emails Friday because of the problem in Logandale. And I go, why did this happen? And if they didn't have my email, and it does frustrate me that they had to send an email to me for us to understand it, but they did send the email, and now we're working on it, and it's getting fixed. So even as hard as that is, and I get the emails, I go, really? But before that, I couldn't remember the last time I received one also, right? And I receive them every once in a while, but every time we receive them, we help somebody, so it makes it worth it. But the other thing is, we look at all of our data, and we compare, we have a love-hate relationship with United Healthcare, frankly, and but they bring their chief data officer to our operation quarterly, and he compares their national data to their local data to our data. And one of the things that's stuck in my head, that has stuck in our head, two things that are a big part of our journey is engagement. So he said 3 years ago, that for every point of engagement, it cuts costs by 1%. And so I go, well, what's that mean? Well, if you get somebody to the doctor and they have a relationship with the doctor, it costs you less money. We bought into that hook, line, and sinker, and so that's the health investment journey that we're going on, and it appears to be working. And so it's a deliberate. We're not here by luck, right? If we feel like it's very deliberate and we're doing it for a reason. We might get surprised because healthcare is surprising, but I don't think we will. The other thing that he said to us that is we haven't fixed yet, and we need to figure out how to fix it with you, and this badge is going to help a lot. But he said so we have 2 behavioral health visits. We have 100% more behavioral health visits per capita than United Healthcare nationally. So twice as many per capita, okay. And we have 1.5 times more than any of their United clients in Las Vegas. And so at first, we were both talking about, is that good or bad? Well, we go, oh, it's good because we're trying to get people to behavioral health. And then we're talking about the diagnosis. You guys would all guess it's anxiety and depression is the primary diagnosis. And we go, so what we need to do is partnership. You're talking about this badge is the first thing, is we need to get people to care quickly. But together we have to fix the things that are causing the anxiety and depression. We can't just keep sending them to therapy. We have to figure out how to get to the workplace together and do things more hand in hand. So this suggestion of the badge, we could not be more enthused about it because it's the start of a different relationship that we're in some of these things together. So thank you very much.
Trustee Johnson?
Yeah. Tom, I appreciate your consistent, and I'm just piggybacking off of Trustees Moore, but always being open and being ready to answer questions from anybody who has them. I know when we first met, you wanted to, the thing you said very consistently was share my name, share my email, share my cell phone number. I want to make sure people can talk directly to me. So I appreciate your willingness to correct the record and share the proper narrative. And so you've done that really well. The question I had was about the diabetes medicine. I know we said today the GLP-1 isn't for weight loss, and I know you also talked about access and how treating diabetes as a health support, and I would imagine weight loss as a health support is the same. Do you have like an estimated timetable on when we might be able to leverage GLP-1s for weight loss so we can keep it as being preventative?
It's a tough clinical question. So we're definitely covering, if somebody has diabetes, then it's covered, and then it's covered for weight loss. If there's other medical conditions that would trigger that, it would be covered. If they have diabetes, they have any other medical condition, it's also going to be covered. I don't know the timeline that we're going to, and I don't think it'll happen, honestly, that we're going to cover GLP-1s just for weight loss. I just don't believe it's going to happen. One thing that's happened in our data, our GI, our gastric episode visits are going up in the emergency room. So more people are going to the emergency room with gastric problems, and we do attribute that to GLP-1s. We also, the muscle loss, we're not comfortable with the muscle loss. A lot of people, so we have a lot of when we think about it, and it's super hard to sit here and talk about how much we believe and care about health, and we're not offering that as a weight loss to people, but we're not believers at this time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're not believers that it works for weight loss, or you're not believers that it, and I'm not a doctor.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to understand, what are you not believing in?
I don't believe that the long-term value for weight loss only is proven.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
And I'm probably the only one that would say that, and I'll probably
At least,
get in
like I said,
trouble.
you've been honest every other time. I don't think you're going to stop being honest now. At least you got it.
I've asked about that. Sorry, Peggy Melton. I've asked about that because I've had many teachers call me and ask me about that. And so I have put it to Tom. So what does it take to get the study to do that, to see if it works, or do we have a study group? Because we have a gastric bypass thing. And so he's heard my voice on that one. It's just not, can't just be a no. We have to have some empirical data that says that, because I have many teachers that have called me and asked me about it that are paying for that out of their pocket.
Well, the research is more every single day. And so to your benefit, there'll be new studies that come out daily, weekly, monthly, annually. And so long as you're committed to continuing to check, and I'm sure the questions will keep coming, as long as there's that partnership where you're willing to just keep looking and reading new research and adapting to that, then that's good. That's good with me.
Before we start the queue again, I wanted to ask if Trustee Henry had any questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I'm excited. I'm excited that I was able to listen to this presentation, and just thankful that our educators will have the coverage that they need.
Thank you, Trustee Henry. Okay, Trustee Esparza-Stafford.
I've been waiting. So, Ms. Melton, thank you. I want to bring up accountability, and I want to talk about what is the value, the measure, the metric that you're using for the providers, and if they are not meeting your standard or providing a service, like how are we holding them accountable, or what is that process? I know it's a loaded question, but go for it.
Sorry about that. Peggy Melton again for the record. The accountability is usually done within the trust, and they do that for the providers. They see how many complaints they get, how many urgent care visits are not conforming to the right protocol of labs, and then they report that information. The board doesn't see that unless it's a problem. We look at our fiduciary is to make sure they're doing or we stand within our financial ranges, even though I probably step out of that line a little bit when I go talk to the providers, because that's some of my background. I worked for United, which was Sierra then. And so they do things like that, but they only know when they get feedback from members. So that's why it's important that they call. You get the wrong bills. They bill one of our members inappropriately. They go and fill out wrong paperwork. And so sometimes people will call me, and then I will send them into the plan to call. And then they go and they actually research and talk to, and I'll ask for feedback. Well, what happened with that? Did we take care of that? Or people stopped getting bills. One example was our COLA guards, where doctors were sending people to do COLA, which is not a covered benefit on our plan. And they took care of that. And so, and I'll say, what happened with that? Did we pay those bills and then educate those doctors? Or, did we send out things to the members saying, according to your plan, this is not covered, and we do have something similar that is covered? It's not that you can't get that, it's you have to go within what's in the plan. So those are the kind of things that we see.
Andrew Helms, for the record, just to add a little more context to that operationally. So additionally, we've developed a health investment provider plan offering accountability grid that clearly defines our obligations to members and providers, as well as the providers' obligations to us and their patients. So we're speaking about the health investment plan offering. So each month we bring these practice leaders together for a virtual call to share updates, share data, show any concerning trends or problems or issues, enhancements. And then we monitor the timeliness of access, satisfaction surveys, provider availability, and appointment wait times. And these metrics allow us to evaluate each provider's performance and ensure the network consistently delivers timely care to our members. So we measure provider engagement and accessibility through the network with several tools such as the SF12 surveys. We're just very data-driven in our approach to measuring the quality of our providers as well.
Okay, Trustee Barone.
Yeah, although, of course, since I retired, I'm no longer with the Teachers Health Trust, but with the city of Las Vegas, we have a provider who I think is pretty good. I don't know if they're as good as THT, but they do offer one benefit where, and I'm not sure what the program is called, but we can actually go to this provider. You have to go out of state, but they do a head-to-toe physical. Of course, they check you not just give you a stress test. They check your cholesterol level around your heart because, of course, things like stress build up a lot of cholesterol on your heart and lungs. Anyhow, it's a head-to-toe physical, right? And it gives you a pretty good snapshot of where you are, which could, in the long run, lead to efficiencies. And there being, if you find out that you have something and you can actually nip in the bud and you get in a wellness program, you can avoid, catastrophic illness later on. Does the Health Trust have anything like that right now? Or are you looking at for something like that, if we don't have it, something like that for our members to share in the future? Something that would actually be, of course, helping out in the long run.
Trustee Barone, Tom Zemtbel for the record. It's another area where I'm a little bit difficult. I don't like the fractured healthcare, and I don't like anybody that comes in with us with point solutions. They call it point solutions. So we spend all of our time getting our primary care doctors to do that for their members. And so there's the same doctor that's doing that now, then they continue care with that doctor. And so we probably won't do something like that, but what I would love to do is learn about that program and see if we could encourage our doctors to do a more comprehensive exam. If there's something for us to learn from that, I would love to do that, absolutely.
I think I can make that happen at the city of North Las Vegas there, so that's cool. I know a person or two over there. Yeah. I'm done, I think. Hopefully that's it.
Seeing as there's no more people in the queue for discussion, thank you so much for a lovely presentation. That will end 6.01. Thank you. Okay, before I open up 7.01, is there anyone who did not get a chance to complete a public speaker card? Anybody at all? Okay. This time, we'll go ahead and open 7.01. Our very first public commenter is Ms. Beer.
Thank you. Nicole Beer for the record. Last week was Nevada Reading Week, a glorious week set aside each year in our state to celebrate the joys of reading. What should have been a wonderful week turned into a horror show when a screenshot from the official CCSD X account dropped into my text messages. For the second year in a row, and folks, this is only your second year in office, Trustee Lorraine Biasotti read an inappropriate...
Ms. Beer?
Yes?
You're violating
Okay.
decorum.
Yeah,
You're-
and so,
I'm going to ask you
yeah.
to please address the board as a team, as a
You do
as a board.
understand that it says Trustee Biasotti and Hayes Elementary on this paper?
This is our business meeting. Now, I cannot control what you do outside of these walls, but in here, this is our business meeting, and I would like to
Okay, so
ask
you're in
that you
violation
would...
of open meeting laws.
I would like to ask that you would follow our policies, and you would talk to us like we are a board, because we are.
Okay, so...
Do not speak
thank
to
you.
us as individuals.
Okay, so the board read an inappropriate, non-vetted book to a group of students. The Weekly Wire published on January 30th, 2026 outlined specific instructions for principals regarding guest readers. In addition, that information was reiterated from Literacy Services at a recent principals meeting. All of this scrutiny was necessary due to the unapproved book that the entire board brought and read to public school children last year. I'm beginning to think that the radical right is correct. We do allow strangers to come in our school and groom children with books. This is exactly what the board did at Hayes Elementary last week. And the principal either didn't care or wasn't aware. The board has chosen not to hold trustees accountable, so now this mess has fallen on the principal and the teacher. What a great way to support our district. How does that make you feel, board? Do you feel good about the job you're doing? Very few people in the community think you're doing a good job, I can tell you that. Further, the book and the board are on the CCSD webpage and Facebook. The book in question is published by PragerU. Let me be clear, the world thinks we allow PragerU materials in our schools. Any educated, competent global member would run from this district and not see it as a destination with that on our website. We are an embarrassment, and I've never been more embarrassed to be part of CCSD. Leadership has to clean up this mess quickly. I thank those individuals in leadership who've reached out and come up with some solutions to mitigate the grooming of the board by one of our trustees. However, this stain on CCSD is still on social media and our website as of about 5 minutes ago. Aren't you equally embarrassed? Because you should be. Next, let's talk about Sawyer Middle School. That's been a problem in the library world for the last 5 years. They have a long history of doing everything possible not to have a certified teacher librarian or to follow policy 6150 and 6161. I will read an email that was sent by Principal Brandy Kirkpatrick to all the candidates that applied for the librarian job. She says, thank you for your interest in the teacher librarian job. I'm almost out of time. Some of your duties will include small group instruction, response to intervention, push into classrooms to support Tier 1 instruction, open library for gaming, arrival, passing, and dismissal duty during student lunches. And if you are interested in this, you must have a library certification to apply for this. That is not the job description for the librarian. Unfortunately, Brandy Kirkpatrick's like so many principals in CCSD. She doesn't follow the rules, and region leadership doesn't hold them accountable. She's done this for so long, she has the temerity to put an email in print to potential library candidates. Thank you.
Next, we have Melba Rivera. Please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Melba Rivera. I'm Vice President for Vera Mobility. Good evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Ebert. So I'm representing Vera Mobility, the company that was awarded the School Bus Stop Arm Program through the fair procurement process. I spoke to you 2 weeks ago when the School Bus Stop Arm Program was pulled from the agenda, and as of today, I understand that it is still running their process, the school district still running their process, and we're here to continue to voice our support and our readiness. And since that time also, there's been a couple of rumors that I want to make sure that it goes on record as we address them today. So I'll be going through 4 of them, again, just to set the record straight. So the first one is that the CCSD does not have the authority to adjudicate violations when a driver does not stop at an extended school bus stop arm. The fact is that the law does show that CCSD has the authority to enforce traffic laws and keep the kids safe near their property. In Nevada, property is broadly defined and includes movable assets, like a school bus. So CCSD has made this clear in public statements. Our attorney, Leif Reed, wrote about this in our response to our competitors' protest, and I took the time, here's highlighted, does state that the district does have the authority to enter into this citation when there is a violation, that they are capable of ensuring that violations are adjudicated to the right process. That's the first one, which is very important. Second myth, that Vera Mobility has data sharing partnerships that directs data to ICE. The fact is that Vera Mobility is a publicly traded company that operates with the highest level of ethics and does not share customer data with any law enforcement data aggregators or ICE. Nosotros tomamos la información de nuestros clientes bien serio. We take the customer data very seriously. La información obtenida nunca es compartida. So the information that we obtain, it is never shared. This is a customer data utilized only for the program. So I want to make that very crystal clear, as that's also very important. The third one, that Vera Mobility lied about their experience with the Regional Transportation Commission. The fact is that we mentioned the RTC twice in our proposal, once in local organizations we engaged with, which we did when we sat down with them last year, and through G3's experience, which we also, you can collaborate that with the RTC page highlighted in their work with G3. And finally, that Vera Mobility will not install a full fleet program and will pick and choose most profitable routes. Not the truth. We stated in the RFP, and this is usually how we always provide the statement that all buses.
Thank you. Next, we have Tiara Flynn. Please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Tiara Flynn for the record. Good evening, Superintendent and trustees. My name is Tiara Flynn, President and CEO of Some New Marketing. We are a family-owned public outreach and engagement firm here in Las Vegas. I also am a graduate from Bonanza High School, so I guess I'm representing the Bengals here in this room. I'm also a Southern Nevada parent. I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I am a product, as I mentioned, of the Clark County School District. I'm here today for one simple reason: student safety. As I shared in my letter to the board, for families across Southern Nevada, this issue isn't political, it's personal. Several years ago, the Some New Marketing team worked on the Zero Fatalities Initiative, hosting community conversations across Clark County. During those forums, parents consistently raised concerns about roadway safety and school transportation safety. What we heard over and over again from families was simple. They want accountability when drivers ignore school bus stop arms. Excuse me. They want visibility into enforcement, and they want to know that preventative safety measures are being implemented before tragedy occurs. The installment of the school bus stop arm cameras is one of those preventative measures. This is about protecting children during one of the most vulnerable parts of their school day, traveling to and from school. My concern, and the concern being expressed in the community, is not about the concept of safety cameras. It's about the delay in awarding contract after a competitive procurement process has already taken place. When safety initiatives stall after a formal bid process, it raises understandable questions for the public. We simply ask that the integrity of the procurement process be upheld and the professional evaluation be allowed to stand. After my tenure in the United States Air Force, I chose to come home and work and serve in this community. And I'm incredibly proud to share today that our company has spent nearly 2 decades doing grassroots outreach across Southern Nevada. For us, grassroots outreach engagement means listening to the community, working with trusted local leaders, and making sure that our families understand safety initiatives. So today, my request is simple. Please allow the competitive procurement process to stand and keep the focus where it belongs, on protecting our students. Because at the end of the day, student safety should always come first. Thank you for your time and your leadership.
Thank you. Next, we have Tiesha Moore. Please state your name for the record.
Taisha Moore.
Good evening, board members. I am Taisha Moore, owner and president of G3 Electrical, a local family-owned electrical contractor. My husband and I are proud products of CCSD, and so are all four of our children. So today, my conversation is focused on safety. It's about the safety of our children. As a driver, many times I have personally witnessed other drivers passing stopped school buses during my daily commute. Those moments place children in real danger during one of the most vulnerable parts of their school day. School bus stop armed cameras provide accountability when those violations occur. I believe when drivers know they will be held accountable, behaviors change and students are safer. As a Las Vegas-based company, we understand that the work we do affects our own neighborhoods, our own families, and the students who represent the future of our community. With personal ties to the community and the district, our company looks forward to participating in this project as we have already been preparing for this project with Vera Mobility and increasing safety for our CCS students. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have Mr. Gomez.
David Gomez, for the record, Nevada Peace Alliance president, father of 7 children, business owner here, everything else, and all the volunteerism I can do. But I wanted to come up here and tell you that I am no longer on the FMP because of something I'm involved in my candidacy, which is not fair. So I had to remove myself, and I had to remove myself from the FMP. And the reason being is I don't want to be biased and unfair, because I'm always the first to come up here and say, I'm not going to do that because that's not right, because I do have a God that I have to look at and I serve. I wanted to talk about the THT, but obviously I couldn't get on that agenda because this wasn't an action item. But they have come a long way. Ever since Villadita was sitting up here to THT, some of you guys were not here when that happened. And they were protesting out in the streets and everywhere else, and I believe this was in September of 2021. And then they also protest again in August of 2022, I believe it was, or 23. So I have a keen memory of a lot of these things. And I came up here and I was yelling at Villadita and the Teachers Health Trust. I was giving it to them. And I told them, I said, stop playing around with people's lives. And I was the only person in the room, just like you look now. It was empty just like this, and all the teachers were out protesting, trying to figure out how they were going to get their coverage for their families. But they have come a long way. And that report that they've shown, and Tom has worked very well with talking with me and speaking with me and giving me his number and everything. They have come a very, very long way from what we've seen to what we see now. And hopefully it gets better. Really, really, really hopefully it gets better. I also wanted to talk about some other things, but I don't have enough time to do that. But at the end of the day, you have to remember that people see you guys as a cash cow, and they will rub each and every one of your shoulders, shake each and every one of your hands, and be each and every one of your friends just to get some money. And I see it happen too many times, and it's disturbing. Now, you know, a lot of people are talking about safety with the bus driver or with the new bus stop things, but we have other safeties. I have to publicly stand on Eastern with a bullhorn and help our crossing guards that work for the city of Las Vegas and tell people to slow down and stop. I don't get paid to do that. I have children. I love my kids. They get on my nerves sometimes, but I'm going to love them any which way. And the things that we have to look at is really who's here for the measures of what we need done in Clark County School District to make sure that our teachers and staff and children succeed.
Thank you. That concludes item 7.01, which brings us to 8.01, upcoming meeting of the Board of Trustees. Next meeting of the Board of Trustees is on March 26, 2026 at 5 p.m. here in the boardroom. Let's open section 9, adjournment. Can I get in? I already got it. Look at, you guys are so fast. Trustee Esparza-Stopperkin.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Trustee Dominguez.
I second.
Thank you. Let's vote. Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. We are adjourned.